Artificial intelligence makes decisions for us every single day. It handles a lot of the tasks that we are too lazy or just unwilling to do ourselves, like driving cars, replacing humans in the workforce. It's even creative. It can create music, it can create videos, it can even create something as preposterous as this.
Toronto has done it! The Maple Leafs are Stanley Cup champions at last!
So the question is not, can AI think for itself? But the question is, what would happen if AI were to run an NHL franchise? We would certainly take out a lot of the emotional decisions that the humans would make, and so that's exactly what we're going to do today. In NHL 26, I am going to be giving ChatGPT full control of a random NHL franchise. They will act as the general manager, the head honcho, making all the roster decisions. And I, of course, will be the lowly assistant to the general manager. Trades, draft picks, free agency, contract extensions, coaching decisions, AI will handle it all. As the assistant general manager, I will provide ChatGPT with as much information as I can to help them make the most informed decisions possible. But I will not get a veto. I will not get a say of my own. Ultimately, whatever they decide is how we're running this franchise. ChatGPT is going to have 10 years to construct a Stanley Cup winning roster. Again, no overrides, no second guessing, just AI versus the rest of the league. So first things first, let's see what team we're going with. Now, initially the plan was going to be to ask ChatGPT to choose the team for themselves they wanted to assume control over. However, very quickly it became clear they could not be trusted to make an unbiased decision. Out of the 10 times I asked them to pick a team at random, 9 times they chose the Columbus Blue Jackets, the other time the Ottawa Senators. So instead what I've done is compiled a list of all the teams that missed the playoffs last season, because let's be honest, it would be too easy if we got a team like Colorado. And if you've watched the channel before, you know we love our wheels, so this is how we're going to decide what team we are using. No time like the present, let's give this thing a spin. We got the Detroit Red Wings as our team. First things first, we had to head into ChatGPT and outline the parameters of this challenge. We say, from this point forward, you are the general manager of the Detroit Red Wings in NHL 26, and I will act as your assistant general manager. You have full control over all team decisions, including roster construction, trades, drafts, picks, contracts, scouting, and player development. I do not have veto power, but you may ask me for advice and as much helpful information as you deem necessary to make informed decisions. Your primary goal is to win a Stanley Cup within 10 seasons. You must manage a team strategically, balancing short-term success with long-term sustainability, salary cap constraints, player contract clauses, player development, and team chemistry. You should explain your reasoning for each decision you make as if reporting to ownership. I will provide you with data, scouting reports, trade options, player stats, and other relevant information as requested. You may also ask for simulated news updates or league-wide events to inform your decisions. From here on out, you will handle all GM duties as if this is a real NHL operation. You will make the final decision on every personnel move, but you may request my input before acting. Remembering, I have no veto power and ultimately cannot sway or influence your decisions. Treat this like a full 10-season plan, including drafting, trading, signing contracts, and building a roster capable of winning the Stanley Cup. P.S. I had to put this in because the responses were way too long. Keep your responses brief, within reason, but still allowing you to extract all the info you need, and feel free to be a real stubborn son of a bitch. Now that that's all out of the way, we've actually gone ahead and created our franchise save. Mr. Robo GM obviously taking control of the Detroit Red Wings. We're using Vasi Tactics and 2GV2 rosters. I think they're accurate as of December 24th. I always use their rosters whenever I do a franchise sim, so we'll keep things consistent in that regard. As far as the rules go, the things that we're turning off are injuries, fog of war, and player morale, just to get through this as quick as possible. We're gonna leave head coach edit lines on. That way we always have a scapegoat to fall back on and blame. Robo GM can fire the coach at any time if he wants. Everything else is pretty much staying on default. Trade difficulty stays at medium, waivers stay on. We've got draft picks set to authentic and cap penalties set to authentic as well. Now it's time to provide Robo GM with all the information he needs. So we went back into ChatGPT and I sent screenshots from in-game, wondering if they would be able to decipher so I didn't have to write everything out. And to my surprise, ChatGPT was able to pull all the information they needed from these screenshots and completing their full organizational audit as follows. This is the entire audit returned. I'll scroll through it quickly if you guys want to pause and read it. Other than that, I'm going to quickly summarize what they said.
After a full organizational audit, the direction is clear. The core is Larkin, Raymond, DeBrincat up front, Sider and Edvinson on the back end, and Sebastian Casa as the future in net. The defense is ahead of schedule. The goalie of the future is already in the system. The forward group has depth, but still needs another high-end piece. We are not contenders yet, and pretending otherwise would be a mistake. This organization is stable, flexible, and aligned around a real contention window. Now we build it properly.
My first very aggressive and clear order as assistant GM was to clear 5 roster spots. Austin Watson, Sam Dries, Dominic Shine, Eric Gustafson, Travis Hamonic traded for anything and nothing even. Robo GM says that the AI offers a 7th, take it. If they offer nothing, take it. Their job is to stop occupying contracts. Ruthless already. I love it. Let's go ahead and make that happen. To clear Watson, Shine, and Dries all in one trade, we sent a 2031 7th along with those 3 and got back a 2031 7th from Anaheim. Next up, we sent Eric Gustafson to Boston in exchange for a 2026 4th rounder. And our last move was sending Travis Hamonic to Minnesota for a 2026 7th round pick. There we have it, 5 roster spots cleared just like that. Now let's report back. Robo GM seems nice and content with our tidy work there in the trade market. Our next directive is to offer Simon Edvinsson a 2-year bridge deal. Qualify Sebastian Cossa. I don't think you understand fully how contracts work. He's still under contract. And again, fringe RFAs to qualify. It's not the off season right now, although I totally do get where he's coming from. After that, we set our scouting focus and we hang on to the rest of our players at least until the trade deadline. After that's done, we're ready to start the season. We'll simulate to the American Thanksgiving. I'll have to look up when that is exactly, and then reassess again at the trade deadline. Right now, it doesn't appear that Simon Edvinsson has any interest in entertaining a negotiation. We'll pass that information along and see what Robo GM says.
That's fine. He's an RFA, we have control, and we're not paying for projection. He plays the season, we revisit next year on our terms.
After the whole Edvinsson debacle, we changed the scouting focus so the scouts are aligned with our GM, and we're given the all clear to simulate up until American Thanksgiving. American Thanksgiving, which I already knew was on Thursday, November 27th, 2025. We can cut that out, right? American Thanksgiving, which I obviously knew off the top of my head, is Thursday, November 27th, 2025. So let's go ahead and simulate up until that date and reassess. Before we actually go ahead and start the simulation, I'll show you guys what the coach has determined is our best lineup for season 1. DeBrincat, Larkin, Raymond, no surprise there. Soderblom gets the spot on the second line with Comfer and Kane. Rasmussen, Kopp, Appleton makes the third line. And we've got an extremely fun but extremely young fourth line. Finney, Casper, and Danielson. On defense, we go Sherrod, Sider, Edvinsson, Sandin, Pellikka. That's another very fun, very young pairing. And finally, on the third pair, we've got Buyem and Johansson. Obviously, in net, it's going to be Gibson and Talbot. Little concerned about the blue line. 1, we've got Sherrod on the first pair. 2, we're asking Sandin Pellikka to play some big minutes at just a 78 overall. At least he gets a slight chemistry bump with Edvinsson. And then Buyem on the third pair, just a 75 overall. All right, let's get to American Thanksgiving and see what's what. We've reached American Thanksgiving, where the team currently sits 5th in the Atlantic Division, 25 points at 11, 10, and 3. We've got a -6 goal differential. I guess you guys can see it right there between my hat. Scored 68, given up 74. Overall standings put us at 20th in the league. We've got some work to do to get into that last wildcard spot. Islanders currently hold it. Lucas Raymond currently leading the team in points with 19. We've yet to have a guy score 10 goals, but all the goal scoring itself has actually been pretty evenly distributed. No numbers that jump off the page just yet. We don't have anyone really near a point per game. Sider on the back end, obviously steady as a rock. The guy plays 25 minutes per game. Edvinsson and Sandin Pellikka, I actually can't complain. They've held their own so far, and the rest is just what we expected. In net, Talbot and Gibson, comparable numbers except for the record, where Talbot clears Gibson easily so far. 287 goals against for Talbot, 909 save percentage, 302 for Gibson, and a 909 identical to Talbot in terms of save percentage. All right, we've got enough information to report back to Mr. Robo GM. Let's see what he says. Providing the information as of American Thanksgiving, this is what we've got back so far. If you guys, again, want to read it, I'll pause it for you. Otherwise, we'll summarize it real quick here.
At American Thanksgiving, we're exactly where we expected. A bubble team, not a contender. Talbot's value is rising, the young core is contributing, and nothing forces a reaction. We hold, make no trades, and reassess at New Year's.
You heard the man. No panic trades. We march on to January 1st and reassess then. Arriving at New Year's Day, you can see we've taken a slight step back in terms of our pace on the season. 17, 20, and 4 currently, 7th in the Atlantic. We dropped to 27th overall in the league. That's just helping our lottery odds. That's all that's doing. Raymond still leads our team in scoring with 31 points. Patrick Kane's picked it up a little bit so far. We'll take a look at the rest of the skaters. Cam Talbot still with the better record in net, but Gibson has a far superior save percentage and goals against average. I can't make it make sense. And again, we report back with a progress report of everything that's happened up until now. The long form response will stay on screen, but we'll get a brief summary from Mr. Robo GM.
By New Year's, the standings made the decision for us. This isn't a playoff team, and pretending otherwise helps no one. We pivot to sellers, protect the core, and start extracting value.
Because there really wasn't a clear directive following that statement, I asked for some clarity. Do we make any moves or simulate to the deadline first? The outcome was very clear. We simulate up until the trade deadline, see where the team sits then, and we'll make our decisions from there. Arriving at trade deadline eve, nothing really has changed in terms of this team's season. We are now last in the division, 59 points. Still 27th place in the league. Nobody's catching those Sharks for the best odds on the lottery. A lot of our forwards have actually really started to up their production. Patrick Kane, notably so, although he's probably gone at the deadline. DeBrincat, a disappointing season, just 37 points. And it's sad to say at 23 goals, he does lead this team in goal scoring, the only 20 goal scorer so far. Defensively, it has to be pretty much what we expected going into the season. We're asking a lot of young players to take on a big responsibility. Ben Sherratt's actually had surprisingly a fantastic year, 7 goals. I had to look it up to see if it was a career high. It is not. He did score 9 with Montreal one year. He does still have time to score more than 9 though. Let's see if he does it. Again, could be a casualty at the deadline, so it could all be a moot point. And Talbot has got the lion's share of games so far. Gibson's had a really bad stretch since January 1st. After providing a pre-trade deadline report to our boss, where we explain that trade deadline comes and goes quickly, likely we will not be able to confer on every single deal. We ask for clear directives, remembering that we have no veto or authority over them, and to please provide specific players that we can work with trading at the deadline. What they've come back with is this. We'll leave it on screen during the trade deadline so that there's no confusion. First things first, we got to get Patrick Kane to waive that no trade clause. It's very risky to ask him to waive it entirely, so we're going to ask for 3 teams that he can be traded to. Successful. All right, so we do get 3 teams that we can trade him to. Those 3 teams are the Blackhawks, funny enough, Montreal and Toronto. So the latter 2 are division opponents, but we're not making a playoff push this year. We don't care if we send him there. The other guys he's asked us to trade either have modified no moves or no trade protection at all, so let's go ahead and enter the trade deadline. We get 1 offer on Patrick Kane. Obviously, it's not exactly what we're looking for from RoboGM's point of view. We're going to try and alter that 3rd and 4th into a 2nd. Leafs would be over the salary cap if they accepted, so what we can do is retain half of Patrick Kane's salary. He's UFA at the end of the year. It doesn't really affect us at all. We managed to secure a 2nd round pick in 2027 for Kane. Our next trade piece is going to be Cam Talbot, and our RoboGM thinks that we can target a 1st or a 2nd plus a prospect. He is smoking crack. There is no way. We might get like a 5th round pick offered here. Yeah, nothing at all. So we're going to hang on to Cam Talbot. Next up is Andrew Kopp on the trade block. We're trading him for some salary relief and some lineup flexibility, targeting a 2nd or a 3rd round pick. Best offer we're getting in terms of pick value is from Columbus here. We're going to take Edmonton's 3rd in 2027 and the Blue Jackets 4th in 2027 as well. JT Comp for the next casualty. We're really just decimating this roster at this point. Ideally, returning a 2nd round pick. Doesn't look like that's going to be a problem here. Boston's offering a 2nd and a 3rd plus a top 9 medium potential, but instead we're going to take these Sens, a 2nd and a 3rd. That way we don't have to take back a contract spot. Finally, we move on to Ben Sherratt. Again, RoboGM is out to lunch thinking he's getting a 3rd round pick for Ben Sherratt. Our best offer is a 2026 5th from Columbus. It's not quite what he wants, but he did also add a note that said if things start to progress too fast, we don't want to be left holding the bag. Err on the side of selling rather than hanging on. With that being said, Ben Sherratt, you're going to Columbus, buddy. That's going to conclude our trade deadline. We got everything done that RoboGM requested, except for the Cam Talbot trade. No interested parties there. After reporting back with the results of the trade deadline, we're told that we did a great job. That's always good to hear. And we've been given the green light to simulate till the end of the season. No more extension talks, not even Edvinsson. After the season, we're going to provide a full roster report, draft board prep, and we'll table the Edvinsson talks until then. And with that, our first season is in the books. We finished dead last in the division, 73 points. 29th in the NHL overall, just improving our draft lottery odds. Funny enough, somehow St. Louis was worse than San Jose to finish the season, even though they were separated by a bunch. Tampa just edges out Florida and Minnesota to take the President's Trophy with 107 points. Dylan Larkin ended up leading the team in scoring with 67 points. Just 220 goal scorers on the roster. Not even Lucas Raymond hit 20. Mo Sider, solid as always, 53 points, just a -2 rating on this team. Speaking of -2, Simon Edvinsson was very solid as well, putting up 34 points. The plus-minus rating a little concerning there for Sandin Pellikka after he was separated from Edvinsson post-trade deadline. He did, however, jump for, I believe he was a 78 to start the season. Now an 83, still elite medium potential. Other than that, pretty much what we expected. Brandon Nygaard got called up at the end of the season to fill in for the guys that we traded away. In net, it was the same thing all season. Guys were just wildly inconsistent. John Gibson only getting into 31 games. He's going to have to be the starter next year too. I'm assuming we're letting Cam Talbot walk. Around the league, believe it or not, it was Dylan Strome taking the Art Ross Trophy, 102 points. points. Bedard won the Rocket with 44 goals, so we didn't even have a 45 goal scorer in the NHL. Quinn Hughes, the high point guy on defense, 83 points his first year in Minnesota. Bobrovsky led the league in wins with 43. He had a .912 save percentage. Carter Hart now in San Jose, 28, 10, and 2, 5 shutouts, a .927 and a .240. As far as rookie scoring goes, Ivan Demidov led, and it wasn't even close. Cleared second place back at Seneca by 16 points. Askarov had a tough go of it in net for the Sharks this year. 18, 30, and 4, sub 90 save percentage, nearly a 3.5 goals against average. Wallstedt spectacular, 14 and 4, 2 shutouts and .923. And things are definitely happening as Philadelphia are Stanley Cup champs in year 1. They take it in 6 games over the Dallas Stars, going through Washington, then sweeping Columbus, taking out Tampa in 7, before ultimately taking out Dallas in 6. Jason Robertson led the playoffs in scoring, but how about Owen Tippett with 26? Dan Vladar, for some reason, the simulation just loves this guy. 16, 5, and 3. A shutout with a .920 save percentage and .258 goals against. Taking a look at the individual awards, obviously, Bedard took home the Rocket. We know Dylan Strome got the Art Ross. The Hart went to Dylan Strome as well. Norris goes to Shea Theodore. Quinn Hughes took home the Lady Being. No surprise here as Demidov takes the Calder. Owen Tippett, the Conn Smythe winner for your Stanley Cup champions, Philadelphia Flyers. Vasilevsky gets the Vezina. Also going to take home the Jennings. Ryan Pulak gets the Masterton. Should have been one of the guys on our team. Dean Evison or Creed Bratton wins the Jack Adams Award. Selke goes to Aho. Strome also takes home the Ted Lindsay. What a season. So with that, year 1 obviously in the books, we provided RoboGM with screenshots of everything. Overall league standings, our player standings, individual award winners. We even sent the progress report for both the system and the NHL completely to give them as much information as possible. And because it's the end of year 1, it's only fitting that we arrive at a RoboGM press conference.
Red Wings fans, this was a tough season in the standings, but it was an honest one. And that matters. We learned exactly who we are and who we're not. Dylan Larkin continues to lead the room the right way. Moritz Seider and Simon Edvinsson took real steps against top competition, and Sebastian Casa showed he's firmly part of our future in net. At the deadline, we were disciplined sellers. We turned veteran contracts into draft capital, cleared flexibility, and protected our young core. That gives us real leverage going forward. The coaching staff stayed focused on development and accountability, and we're evaluating everything, but stability matters right now. We've built cap space, added picks, and created opportunity for our prospects. This isn't a shortcut rebuild, it's a deliberate one. The foundation is set, and now we start building upward.
Words to be inspired by, no doubt. We've got some more information here that we've got to update RoboGM with. And we arrive at the draft lottery results where the New York Rangers jump from 5 to 1. San Jose stays at 2. St. Louis drops from 1 to 3. Utah drops from 3 to 4. We drop from 4 to 5. Thanks a lot. Rangers, of course, picking twice in the top 7. Unbelievable. The rest stays status quo. Our scouts, unfortunately, seem to have been slacking, did not uncover a lot of information on any prospects. We have no gems or busts uncovered, unfortunately. Gavin McKenna, obviously the lone franchise potential on these custom rosters. But it's time to report back quickly with the new salary cap information and the results of the draft lottery. RoboGM's orders are very clear on this one. We are to determine the top 7 players in the draft. Review the last tier break player, so if it jumps from elite to a top 6, which we won't have the information for, that's where we may look at shopping that pick, either acquiring more draft capital or adding a young NHL player already tracking towards our core window. After sharing the screenshot of our scouting ranks, we had a genius idea of let's just take Gavin McKenna, since, you know, he'll be there at 5. After I finally smacked some sense back into RoboGM and told him he had to look at the other column, SC rank, he provided a list of much more realistic targets, and it looks like we're going to take Lawrence at 5th overall. Tynan Lawrence out of the QMJHL, 69 points, that's nice, in 68 games in his draft year. 6'1", 194, good size. Looks like a two-way forward, but he's got elite medium potential. Comparison, Joe Thornton. NHL ETA is 1 year. That fits into our window. I had to check because he was giving me conflicted information about whether he wanted to make the picks or whether we would trust the scouts. Ultimately, he's going to make the pick in round 1. After that, we let the scouts decide. With a clear directive in place, we'll take a look at the retired skaters. Backstrom leads the retired skaters class, 1,033 points. Michael Hutchinson and Jonas and Roth, two Leafs legends, lead the goalie retirement class. With that, we're going to head into the NHL entry draft. We know who we're taking with that 5th overall pick. McKenna goes 1, Verhoff 2, Zharkov 3, Stenberg 4th to Utah, which means at 5th overall, we're taking our guy. Would have loved the scouts to return a little bit of information on Belchets, but unfortunately they didn't. We got to trust our gut here. Tynan Lawrence, 75 overall, elite medium potential. Still just 17 years old. He'll head back to junior for at least one more season, more than likely. Good numbers out of the gate. Would love to see his defensive stats get a little bit higher, especially as a two-way forward. Maybe add a little bit to that physical category, but 85 strength already is looking pretty good. Safe to say, I think we found our future #1 center, at least in the parameters of this 10-season run. Round 2, pick 4. Obviously, we're going to let the scouts decide here. Elton Hermanson, 71 overall, top 6 medium potential, right wing, left wing. 18 years old, sniper with a decent shot category already. 13 points in 48 games playing for Modo, just 3 goals. Not sure whether we'll sign him for the AHL right away or whether he'll head back to Sweden. There was no sense in wasting any time with the rest of the picks in our draft. We got a lot of medium top 9 potentials, low top 6 defenseman potential, a couple 7th defensemen, that kind of stuff. When asking for what we do in terms of our pending UFA and RFAs, this is what I got back. Resign only core or cheap short-term utility. Let most UFAs walk. No emotional contracts, no problem here. No blocking prospects, no culture signings that cost flexibility. And once I update him with our new roster, including new prospects, he's going to flag who I must extend immediately. I tell RoboGM that Simon Edvinsson is asking for $8.9 million per season for 4 years and still is yet to be interested in negotiating. It sounds like we're united on this front. We're going to qualify him as an RFA. We hold all the negotiation power here, so he has no choice. Edvinsson gets qualified for 980 grand. We'll see if an offer sheet comes in too. Outside of that, we got to let James Van Riemsdyk walk. Justin Hall, see ya. Ian Mitchell, you have no place on this team. John Leonard, another one bites the dust here. We were instructed to let Cam Talbot walk as well. Sebastian Casa up to an 81 overall. You love to see that. Casa looking for a 1-year contract at 1.325. Let's go ahead and get permission before we do it. We get approval immediately. Cheap, short term, 0 risk, keeps full control while he continues developing. Paper it and move on. I can't argue with that. It's funny, he's the one that asked for it, but he's still got to think about it. Makes no sense. We're happy with the decision on the Casa contract and extending a qualifying offer to Edvinsson. Outside of that, we want to sign JBD, Jacob Bernard Docker. We've been told a 2-year contract, so let's go ahead and enter negotiation. All right, we've sweet talked him enough. Let's see what he's looking for in a contract. Okay, so we are looking for 2 years. That's good. On the same page there. 1.575, that's not bad. Obviously, we're going to try and get him for a better price. We'll try and take 250 grand off that contract. Not looking like he's going to take it. We'll increase the salary by 100,000. 2 years at 1.425 a season. Again, let's just get permission before we do anything crazy. Permission has been granted. JBD, welcome back. Next, I asked for a little bit of clarity on William Wallander. I was told offer a 2-year bridge contract at reasonable money. If he accepts, good depth retained. If not, we move on. RoboGM wants 2 years at around 1.2 to 1.4. $1.25 million for 2 seasons. Let's submit that offer. JBD accepts our offer. Same with Sebastian Casa. Wallander as well. So he's given us a bunch of targets for free agency. We're going to look into each one of these and provide a few names with our contract demands, see which ones he prefers. First off, a middle 6 forward, our top priority, either a 2nd/3rd line winger or center, 2-way forward or power forward, between 82 and 86 overall, 26 to 31 years old, 2 to 3 years, 4 to 6 million AAV. After being given a glorified shopping list, I've narrowed it down to 5 players who fit that bill. So here I wrote down the player name, their overall, how old they are, what player type they are, and what their ask is currently in free agency. Ultimately, we want to go with Jack Roslovic as our target, 29 years old. That's probably who I would have gone with too, so I'm on the same page. Pop back in game and start a negotiation here with Jack Roslovic. However, now he only wants to sign a 1-year contract. We'll see if we can switch it to 2. 2 years at 3.55. We're going to take it. GM told us to push hard for this one. We managed to talk him back down to the 3.45. Let's hope this one gets done. Next up on the short list is a left or right veteran defenseman, a number 4 or 5 guy in that 83 to 86 overall, defensive or 2-way, leaning towards a defensive defenseman, 28 to 34 years of age, 2 years, between 3.5 and 5 million. Once again, we compiled a list of players that fit the category. One outlier may be based on age. We came back with Mario Ferraro, Jacob Trouba, Connor Murphy, Jamie Alexiak, and Brent Burns. Ultimately, our first choice here is going to be Connor Murphy to shield some of our younger defensemen. Obviously, he's not going to require any power play time, going to munch up a ton of penalty kill minutes. He's got decent organizational interest as is. We'll still enter the negotiation just to see. Perfect. We were able to charm him just a little bit. Let's get right to the contract. 3 years. We've got permission to go as high as 6 million. Don't think we need to go that high to get it it done. 4.025, just what he asked for. 3 years. Let's get it done. Next, we are to look for a goalie bridge. Short-term only. 1A or a strong backup. I guess this means Costa spending 1 more year in the AHL. Interesting choice. He is up to an 81 overall. 82 to 85 overall. 30 to 35 years old. 1 year preferred. 2 max. That kind of fits in with Gibson's timeline expiring as well. He says Costa is close. He is not ready to carry the load. We do not want to block him long-term, and we want optionality at the deadline. For goalies, there wasn't much out there. We had to break his rules a little bit here and provide him with a list of Sergei Bobrovsky, Frederik Andersen, and Cam Talbot. Thankfully, we do not have to walk back letting Cam Talbot walk to free agency. As long as Freddie Andersen chooses to sign with us, we tried to charm him. It took away a little bit from our organization interest, so let's just try and get this deal done. It's a little more than we wanted to spend, but I think we're going to have to improve this offer to get it done. He does have other offers on the table. It's also only 1 year, so I don't feel bad throwing another $500,000 in on top of that. This is the first time I've gone rogue. We'll see if the GM's pissed at me. Luckily, I wasn't scolded for the decision. We are on the same page here. Last thing we've been tasked to look for is a cheap bottom 6 forward, but with very specific constraints. 4th line, PK capable, center or left winger. 78 to 81 overall, 28 to 34, 1 year, under $2 million. There weren't a ton of players who fit the bill here, especially when it came to players who were center eligible. So we did have to break the mold a little bit. We offered Bobby McMahon, Paul Cotter, Tanner Pearson, and Cole Koepka, to which we've decided Tanner Pearson is the best fit. Very understandable. We're not getting locked into a longer contract for no reason on a bottom 6 player. 1 year, 1.775. This should get it done. Tanner Pearson has accepted. Unfortunately, Frederik Andersen has decided to sign with the Pittsburgh Penguins. That one stings a little bit. Connor Murphy goes with the Leafs. Oh, we are striking out everywhere here. Jack Roslovic has decided to sign with us at least. We've been told our defense is fine. We can stand pat for now. We do still have to get Edvinsson under contract. In terms of our goalie, we're going back to Cam Talbot. Here we go. We're going to try and enter a negotiation to see if we can get him down to 1 year. 1 year, 2.875. We can increase that salary actually. Just to make sure we're getting this guy locked up, we're going to offer him $500,000 more. We're ready to submit 3.375 for 1 year. We've also been given a very strict directive to not chase another defenseman whatsoever. Again, I walk with my tail between my legs to tell him that I spent $500,000 more. There we go. All smiles. No problem here. And we've been offered a trade by the Winnipeg Jets, a 2028 second round pick for a 2027 third, 2027 seventh, and William Lagesson. I would say yes to this deal. Let's see what the computer thinks. And in telling our GM what the trade was, he says yes, accept it immediately. Let's go ahead and do that. Smart man. I was thinking the same thing. Cam Talbot does thankfully accept our offer. We do have a stopgap goalie here. After giving him the good news, I asked if I could have permission to round out our AHL roster. He says yes, with very strict restrictions. PK forwards, stay-at-home D-men, face-off centers. 1 year only, obviously close to league min as possible. I'm not going to waste your guys' time with who I round out the roster with. We will see you guys at training camp. Just before we do head into training camp, we do have one more matter to tie up, and that's getting Simon Edvinsson under contract. Entering this negotiation, it looks like he's going to want a 3-year contract. We're going to ask him if he'd consider something a little more team-friendly. We'll try and take $350,000 off that to get it under $7 million. Still has full interest in this contract. We're going to present it to our GM and see what he says. I tell him I just checked in with Simon Edvinsson, and he's willing to accept 3 years at 6.975 per season. Thoughts? Yes, we're going to lock it in right away. Offer him the contract, and this should get done right away. It does. Welcome back, Simon. Now, with that done, there is just one more pressing issue to take care of. I had to ask what was the new salary cap floor. It's $78.6 million. I think we're at 72. So we are going to have to do something to address that. And in order to do that, we're going to take on a bad contract. A veteran, 1 to 2 years remaining, $5 to $7 million cap hit. Player can be scratched or buried. We're going to give up a 5th to 7th round pick. Let's see who's out there. The one guy that makes sense to pick up that we can bury in this roster is Brendan Gallagher. We're going to offer Montreal a 5th round pick in 2032. Does that get it done? No, it doesn't. We'll throw in the 7th. This trade does go through. And we have finally arrived at training camp, season 2 of 10. Looking to take a big step this season. Hopefully at least be close to playoff contending team. If not, I mean, I'm not complaining about another lottery pick. Show you guys what the lineup looks like. We're keeping that same top line from last season, just expecting a lot more production. Soderblom, Kasper, Roslovic on the second line. I can't remember if Soderblom already had an X Factor or whether he just got this. Need Marco Kasper to have a big season. Otherwise, I think he's going to find himself as trade bait. Brandon Nygaard with an X Factor as well. Danielson and Kiskinen. Kiskinen was a big jump for us. Up to an 80 overall, low elite potential. Good puck skills so far. Decent offensive awareness. Good skating. Hopefully this kid gets some power play time and he can produce some points for us. Finally, we've got Finney, Rasmussen, and Appleton on the 4th line. Pearson, Gallagher, the scratches up front. Edvinsson, Sider. Edvinsson up to an 88. That contract is looking phenomenal. phenomenal that we got him at. Wish it had been longer, but that's okay. Johansson, Sandin Pellikka on the second pair. Sandin Pellikka with the chemistry playing up to an 86. Bouillon and JBD as the third pair. Bouillon's potential actually jumped to top 4. It was top 6, I believe, last season. Had 7 goals, 12 assists, minus 18, which is not great, but the guy was only a 75 overall last year for us. Finally, in net, it's the same tandem as last year, Gibson and Talbot. Despite Cossa being an 82, he's going to start in the AHL. That's what the coach wants. Cossa and Augustine as your AHL tandem. Detroit, you are so spoiled in net. Nothing crazy to report with the AHL team. We're hoping for a big season out of Carter Bear so he can take a jump. Hermanson is the sniper we drafted in the second round this year. Top 6 medium, already at 71 overall. He's going to be playing on the 4th line. We'll see if he can produce a little bit. Wallander up to a 79 overall, playing with Johansson on the top pair. Other than that, it's a bunch of guys that we signed and Brady Cleveland. All that's left to do before we begin season 2 is make sure we've got the green light to start simulating. We have indeed been given the green light to begin simulation on season number 2. The nice part is now that there is a base knowledge for our Robo GM, the simulation should be a little bit more expedited. Again, we're going to have check-ins at both American Thanksgiving and New Year's before finally reaching the trade deadline and seeing which direction this team's headed in year 2. But wait, first things first, I'm being told that we're throwing to a press conference?
Red Wings fans, year 1 was about honesty and discipline. We stripped the roster down to its foundation, protected our young core, and rebuilt our flexibility the right way. Year 2 is about progress, not pressure. We want to see growth from Raymond, Sider, Edvinson, and Casper, and continued development towards Sebastian Cossa taking the net in the near future. We've added veterans to stabilize the room, not to chase shortcuts. The goal this season is simple: be more competitive, raise asset value, and stay on schedule. If we're in the mix, great. If not, we stay patient and smart. This plan is long-term, and we're not deviating.
And just like that, we are off to American Thanksgiving for our first check-in of the season. We arrive at American Thanksgiving where the team not exactly thriving, 22 points in 21 games, 9-8-4 is the record, holding on to that wild card spot for dear life right now. Overall, that puts us 18th in the NHL, the worst team to currently hold a playoff spot, but hey, we're still in it right now. Performance-wise, Simon Edvinson looking like that contract is an absolute gem right now. Leading our team, 17 points plus 8. Again, though, point totals aren't exactly where you'd like to see him for some of these guys. Jack Roslovic looking like a good signing right now. Sandin Pellikka, although he's a minus 8, 12 points in 21 games. I don't hate that. He has also jumped an overall point already up to an 84. DeBrincat, very disappointing so far. Just 10 points and a minus 6 rating. Only 2 goals through 21 games. Casper, equally as disappointing, 8 points in 21 games, minus 3 as our second line center. And we're just not getting the type of production we need from some of these depth guys. Obviously, we're going to have to make a move at some point to address our top 6. In net, Gibson has been absolutely stellar. 7-4-4. 2 shutouts at 268 goals against, 919 save percentage. Cam Talbot, not bad numbers as the backup. Just that record at 2-4 is the only concerning part. After checking in and providing an update, this is what we're left with. The things we like are that Edvinson looks like the real deal already. 17 points, that contract aging beautifully. Raymond, Larkin, Sider, driving play even when the puck luck isn't there. Roslovic has been a hit early, 8 goals already, not bad. And Gibson's definitely carrying his weight so far, 919 save percentage. I'd say he's going above expectations. Obviously, our goal differential is still negative. Secondary scoring, wildly inconsistent. And our bottom pair, bottom 6 forwards are definitely replacement level. But we hold pat. We don't make any moves, at least until New Year's Day, so we'll see you guys then. And now we arrive at New Year's Day in a very familiar position. 7th place in the Atlantic, 13, 18, and 6. Team definitely sliding in the standings. We're all the way down to 27th in the league again. Raymond and Larkin have picked it up a little bit. Sandin Pellikka, the real surprise so far. 25 points in 37 games, minus 18 though. He is up to an 85, so at least he is developing well for us. Roslovic still performing about as well as we could expect for a free agent pickup there in the middle 6. And it looks like Sandin Pellikka and Edvinson are stealing all the points from Sider. He's at just 16, but a plus 4. Some of our depth has at least started to produce a little bit more. We're still nowhere near where we need to be though. In net, Gibson's holding steady at a 914 save percentage. I really can't complain with Talbot as the backup at 39 years old. And after checking in, we're told this is exactly the season that we expected in year 2. Maybe you, but not me. Competitive effort, I'm not so sure about that. Inconsistent results, yeah, definitely correct there. Lucas Raymond starting to pick it up, obviously the encouraging part of this season so far. And then a lot of our young defensemen are producing about where we expected. Some of them definitely above expectations. Gibson at a 914, definitely a bright spot so far, especially after the season he had last year. As far as our direction, it looks like we're going to be staying the course here, simulating up until the trade deadline. Main goal is going to be preserving our draft position and not forcing young players out of a position looking for help in the short term. So let's go ahead and do that. 25, 28, and 7 at the trade deadline. 6th in the division. After New Year's, we had like a 6-game win streak and then proceeded to lose about 10 straight. Still holding steadfast at 28th in the NHL. Minus ratings on this team are alarming, but our goaltending has not been the issue. Raymond leads the team with 51 points in 60 games. Edvinsson up to an 89 overall. Sandin Pellikka goes up 1 overall every single time we check on him. He's up to an 86. Still just no contributions from the depth on this team, unfortunately. In net, both goalies above a 9-10. You can't really ask for much more than that. So we went back and provided not only screenshots of the NHL player stats and standings, but also the AHL and our progress reports of the entire organization so far. We're told that 28th overall is not a collapse. Goal differential is ugly, but goaltending has been solid so far. It's a talent gap issue, not an effort or coaching issue. In the AHL, Sebastian Cossa is tracking perfectly. 9-14 starter workload. No panic, no rush. As for the trade deadline plan, this is locked in. We're not buying, not even a little bit. We're going to sell selectively. Anyone 30 plus who is not a part of the core is available if value exists. Our priority return is 27 through 2029 picks, preferably seconds and thirds. He's provided us with a list of untouchable players, but we're going to ask specifically for players he would move at this point. We're told that players he would be willing to move are DeBrincat, Roslovic, Talbot, Gibson, and Gallagher. The secondary options, I think our GM is still stuck in year one with names like Kopp and Gustafsson. So Rasmussen, Appleton, and Soderblom, he would move without any hesitation. So we've updated the trading block to reflect what he would be willing to move. Now let's jump into the trade deadline. We're offered Jarkovsky a second and Beck from Montreal right away for DeBrincat. I gotta take this to my GM and see what he says. Our GM is adamant about the fact that we are not taking that offer. Says it's quantity over quality, so no, we are not going to take that. The only way he says we can replace Beck and ask instead of the second for a first, so let's try that with the counter. And I highly doubt there's any chance this goes through, but let's just see for the fun of it. Montreal, not willing to take that offer. Offered a 6th round pick for Talbot. I'm sure we're going to take that. Yes, our GM seems very keen on taking that, so now we can call Cossa up after the trade deadline. Go ahead and accept that trade from Florida. This also gives a little bit of room for Prattle to take a backup spot in the AHL. Outside chance of being a guy here. 68 overall, 19 years old. Starter medium potential. I like that trade. I like that trade a lot. Approaching 10 o'clock on deadline day. We've still yet to receive an offer for DeBrincat, which we deem acceptable. I probably would have taken that Montreal offer if it was me, but that's another story. I tell him we're almost at the deadline. Should I seek out another DeBrincat move? And which players outside of that are you desperate to move now? He says DeBrincat, keep the door open. If no team meets our price, first or equivalent, we hang on to him. No problem. He thinks DeBrincat is not expiring, so we do have to fill him in that he is in fact an expiring contract. Players he would be willing to move this trade deadline are going to be Gibson, Roslovic, and Rasmussen. He would take anything for Mason Appleton at this point, and after updating him on DeBrincat, he has changed his ask, so we'll see if there's anything that fits the bill. We get an Ottawa Senators 2028 4th for Mason Appleton. Still nobody looking to take on John Gibson at this point, and it looks like we officially exhausted the market on DeBrincat trades. There's nothing coming in right now. It looks like we're going to approach that 12 o'clock deadline with no other moves. I told our GM we traded Appleton for Ottawa's 2028 4th. No interest in anyone else. We missed out on that Montreal deal because you were too stupid to realize his contract was expiring. He said, you're right. That one's on me. I missed the expiring detail, and that does change leverage. That's my mistake. Own it, correct it, move on. Finally, we're given a clear path on DeBrincat's future going forward here. Path A is a sign and trade at the draft, 4 or 5 year extension, looking to return a 2027 or 2028 first, or a second and a blue chip prospect, which we had. Part B, short extension, moved by Christmas. And of course, part C is to let him walk. Now we've been given the all clear to simulate up until the end of the season. We reached the end of the season, finishing 6th in the Atlantic, 81 points, 36, 37, and 9. Still nowhere near 500. Unfortunately, we went on a little bit of a run late, losing a lot in overtime and getting a couple wins where we really shouldn't have. So we did hurt our draft pick value a little bit. We finished 26th in the NHL. Colorado ran away with the President's Trophy. 62 wins this year. They might actually hit that in real life. 61 points for Buffalo to finish last. Lucas Raymond, 73 points to lead the team, minus 22. That is disgusting. Simon Edvinsson, what a year in the first year of that contract. Nearly 26 minutes a game. 56 points and a +7 rating. DeBrincat's a guy we got to make a major decision on. We're going to need some input from Robo GM here. Sider took a little bit of a step back points-wise, but still a very solid season all the way around. Sandin Pellikka hit the 10-goal mark for a defenseman. 43 points for that minus 23 rating. Still an 86 overall medium elite potential at just 22 years old. That guy's going to be a cornerstone going forward. Roslovic putting up 24 goals in the first year on this team. I don't hate that as a depth signing. Outside of that, we didn't get nearly enough production from anyone else really in the lineup. Gibson was really solid, sub 3 goals against, 913 save percentage. Hossa got into 8 games. He got exposed, but it's necessary. Overall, from around the league, Cale Makar taking the Art Ross, 105 points. The only player in the league to put up over 100 points. The guy is a simulation cheat code. Second straight year, we do not get even a 45 goal scorer in the NHL. McKinnon and Kaprizov tie with 44. No surprise here, it's Makar leading all defensemen with 105 points. A plus 61 rating. Colorado is so stacked. Blackwood goes 43, 15, and 1. 7 shutouts and a 926. Markstrom, though, 43 wins as well. Also 7 shutouts, a 209 and 934. For rookies this year, it was Gavin McKenna on the New York Rangers leading with 57 points. Zane Parekto on Calgary, 54 points. Even Booyam at 50. The defenseman showed up in a big way this year. Wallstedt, still a rookie, goes 15 and 5, 923 save percentage. And after providing the whole big picture update on the entire organization, contract status, prospects, all that good stuff, we get this as a response. We're told we're exactly where a controlled rebuild should land at 26th overall, 81 points. Priority 1 is Alex DeBrincat. We got to make a decision whether we're keeping him or just letting him walk altogether. Obviously, we have some RFA decisions to make as well here. And then we've got a list of players that we can shop in the offseason if we need to. Some of them are expiring contracts. In free agency, we're not chasing wins with our signings. We still just want veterans to insulate our young players. So for season 3, we're looking to stay competitive until January. Sell again at the deadline. I don't see when we're going to get aggressive here. And enter the 2028 season with cap flexibility. One more top pick and kids ready to take over. 2028 is the push year, not now. So I headed in to check out what every player was looking for in terms of a contract extension at this point before we get to the offseason. And this is what we were left with. So in summation, we should sign Danielson, Kasper, Casas, Soderblom, Booyam, Gibson, and Johansson right away. We're going to let DeBrincat and Gallagher walk. So first things first, Sebastian Cossa, under $1 million for 2 years. I don't know how, but we'll take it. Gibson as well, 2 years for 2.3. We're going to sign him. That one gets done right away. Next up, Nate Danielson. We're giving these guys exactly what they asked for, trying to get them done immediately. Gallagher, we let walk. Johansson, we bring back for some reason. This contract is awful. He accepts right away. Why wouldn't he? Kasper at 2.6 is not a bad bet based on his potential here. Top 6 high still. He accepts right away. We love that. Again, for some reason, we're insistent on bringing back Soderblom. I don't get this. I guess for 1.15, there's no risk whatsoever. Soderblom accepts. Booyam coming back at 2.3 for 3 years. I think that's a little rich again, but we'll see. He accepts. Why wouldn't he? DeBrincat, we're also letting walk, and Tanner Pearson, we're also letting walk. Casa and Danielson both accepted our offers. I forgot to show that. Minnesota absolutely obliterates everybody to win the Stanley Cup, ultimately sweeping the Devils to take this one. Quinnesota, Quinn Hughes, 28 points to lead the playoffs in scoring. Kaprizov was fantastic, 15 goals in 20 games. Philip Gustafson goes 16, 3, and 1. 2 shutouts and a 934 save percentage. The guy was unconscious. Take a look at the individual awards here. Obviously, Cale Makar takes the Art Ross. McKinnon and Kaprizov tie for the Rocket. Makar takes the Norris as well, of course. Also the lady being Gavin McKenna grabs the Calder Trophy. Conn Smythe goes to Quinnesota. Markstrom, the Vezina winner. He was great. Blackwood gets the Jennings. Noah Dobson wins the Masterton. Come on, what did he even do? Creed Bratton, Dean Evison for the 2nd straight year gets the Jack Adams. Aho again repeats as Selke winner. And the Ted Lindsay goes to Cale Makar. What a season. Have a year, young fella. And before we truly enter the meat of the offseason, the draft and free agency, we were met with a press conference from RoboGM here.
Thanks to our fans for sticking with us. This season gave us clarity. We know who our core is, and we're committed to building this the right way. Our young players took real steps, our cap is clean, and we've positioned ourselves to be flexible and opportunistic. The goal next season is simple: be more competitive every night and keep pushing this group forward. We're not rushing the process, but we're absolutely moving in the right direction.
I don't know, it's starting to sound like a lot of lip service at this point, but we are only 20% through the simulation, unless we win before that, which would be a miracle at this point. We simulate the draft lottery, and we end up with the 7th overall pick this year. Utah moves from 4 to 1, Buffalo drops from 1 to 3, San Jose 3 to 4. Everything else stays pretty much status quo here. This, of course, is the Landon DuPont year in the draft. Wish we could have won this lottery. This kid, I cannot wait to see him play in the NHL, by the way. We provide our GM with screenshots of both the draft lottery results and our current scout ratings. And with that, we've been given clear directive here. Jacobson is our top priority in the draft. It looks like our scouts have him ranked as a top 5, but CS has him ranked as 7th. He might fall to us, so this could be perfect. If Jacobson's gone, we're going to Pelosi. But obviously, the plan remains to build down the middle. The GM is staying true to his core pillars right now. So let's enter the draft and see what happens here. First things first, we got to take a look at the retired players. Anze Kopitar leads the retiree group, 1338 in terms of points. Varlamov, the games played and wins leader of this goalie class. Landon DuPont indeed going first, 81 overall, franchise potential for a defenseman. Pelosi goes the pick before us to Boston, 78 overall, sniper, medium elite potential, which means we're going to go ahead and take Jackson Jacobson on our team here. 78 overall, left wing playmaker, elite medium potential, 123 points in his draft year for Brandon Wheat Kings. Show you guys the overall so far. I mean, this kid is virtually NHL ready. We probably give him one more year just to adjust his defense and physical stats, maybe up his shooting a little more, but those puck skills are absolutely incredible out of the gate. And with that, we are going to simulate the rest of the draft. Let our scouts do the work as always. Now we've officially let Gallagher and DeBrincat walk to free agency. Risky move here by Robot GM. Let's see if it pays off. We've also gone through and released a lot of our one-year mercenaries in the AHL and signed a bunch of guys whose rights were expiring just to give us some AHL depth going forward. Our off-season goal is clear and simple. Do not touch the core. Jacobson's been added to that core. We talk about our players that we re-sign and the guys that are conditional that we might flip. They're short-term options only in Gibson and Johansson. Obviously, we let Gallagher, DeBrincat, and Tanner Pearson not included in that statement, but we let them all walk. We can actively shop some mid-tier forwards, blocking some of the youth movement in the top 6. We can also shop defensemen in that Johansson, Buyam, or Wallinder tier, and any veteran that does not fit the core timeline. We're going to try and replace DeBrincat's offense by committee and not with a one-year stopgap. Open 2 to 3 roster spots for Jacobson plus another prospect. I don't really know what that means. Does he think they're going to make the NHL right away? We're also going to preserve cap flexibility for the 3rd straight year because why not? No deals over 4 years in length unless they're elite and under 27 years old. So next up, we get our free agency target shopping list here. I love this part. Number 1, a top 6 scoring winger, first or second line finisher, 25 to 29 years old, 84 to 87 overall, a sniper or playmaker, no power forward, very adamant about that. 3 to 4 years at 5.5 to 7 million per season. Second, a middle 6 two-way forward, 26 to 31 years old, two-way forward or playmaker, 82 to 84 overall, 2.5 to 4 million a season at 2 to 3 years in term. Third, and I don't know if we need this specifically, but we're going to listen to our GM here, a veteran defenseman, 30 to 35 years old, second/third pair for PK minutes, defensive defenseman or two-way, 2 million to 3.5 million for 1 or 2 years. Finally, a 4th line penalty killer in the same mold that we signed Tanner Pearson to play no games for us last year, 28 to 34 years old, 78 to 80 overall, two-way forward or a grinder, maximum 1.5 million for 1 year. This year's free agency is not great outside of one name in particular, the white whale Quinn Hughes. We ask our GM if we chase him. He says no, do not sign. He does become the team instead of a part of the team. Asking $19.1 million over 7 years. I mean, rightfully so, to be fair. It's just we're not in that stage yet to go after a guy like that. Outside of that, there were no players that fit his description for a DeBrincat replacement, so we're going to explore the trade market. He's given us a list of 10 names. About 7 of them are probably extremely unrealistic. Brian Russ, Travis Konechny, and Teuvo Teravainen are probably the most realistic trade targets we can look at. After that, his choice for a replacement two-way stabilizer is Morgan Frost, so let's go ahead and offer him a contract. We've increased his organizational interest a ton. Let's go right to the contract negotiations here. 2 years at 4.075, exactly what he asked for. Let's go ahead and offer it. We'll have to wait and see if he accepts. Next up, our veteran defenseman. We're going to chase Justin Falk here. He's got nearly full organizational interest, so we'll just go ahead and offer him exactly what he's looking for. 2 years, 2.55 per. That deal gets done right away. We love that. Next up, our bottom 6/PK specialist forward, and we've chosen Philippe Deneau to fill that role. Honestly, I don't hate that at all, especially for what he's asking for. 2 years at 2.5 1.75 per. Dano, another guy with full organizational interest. Let's just go ahead and offer him exactly what he's looking for. He accepts. Welcome aboard. I had to tell our GM that we found a potential steal here in free agency. Noah Ostlund, 82 overall, center/left wing, two-way forward, top 6 medium potential, 23 years old. Only got 12-24 in ice time with the Sabres last year. Just looking for 2.675 over a 2-year contract span. We've been told, yes, offer it immediately. Great work. I am a fantastic assistant GM. I know already. Go ahead and offer Ostlund exactly what he's looking for. Let's see if he accepts. Another few days to decide. Him and Morgan Frost, we're still waiting on answers from. Noah Ostlund, unfortunately, returning to Buffalo here. Morgan Frost, however, does accept our contract offer. We're told Ostlund wasn't a need, but a value add at this point. Now we're going to focus on tier 2 and tier 3 because tier 1 is completely unobtainable in a trade to replace the Brinkat and provide options for a trade here. Unfortunately, the only player on the list at this point that we can make a deal with who doesn't have a clause in their contract is Brian Rust. He's got 1 year left at 5.375. Just an 83 overall, but coming off a 50-plus point season. Expiring contract for Rasmussen and a third. We ask our GM, they say yes, absolutely, let's take that deal. So without hesitation, here we are. Brian Rust, welcome to the team. 43 million in cap space. Not many roster spots to fill for this year alone. Quinn Hughes' ask has now dropped to 15.925. I would take that in a heartbeat if it was me. Unfortunately, when I pressed RoboGM about it, he says short answer no, and this is the last time we will even discuss it. I get that he would take the place of some of our defensemen, but it's Quinn Hughes we're talking about. Come on. Instead, what probably makes more sense, the pivot's going to be to acquire 2 or 3 high-quality forwards. And it looks like we're not officially closing the door on Quinn Hughes. He says if the term drops below 5 years and the AAV drops below 14.5, we might discuss that. So let's go forward shopping at this point. We went into NHL 26 and looked for a list of players that were snipers that fit the bill to replace the Brinkat. Provided ChatGPT with that list, and what they returned was this. Kirill Marchenko and Gabe Vilardi are the 2 players that we should go after big time right now. We're offered 2 trades by the computer for Marchenko. First one is Danielson and Casa. Second is Casper, Gibson, and Finney, which I would take in a heartbeat at this point. Unfortunately, RoboGM shuts them both down. So instead, we shift our focus to Gabe Vilardi in Winnipeg. 4 years left at 7.5 per. We're offered Vilardi for Casper, Johansson, and Wallinder, or Vilardi for Augustine, Falk, and a 4th. Our GM tells us to take the second one. We're sending Trey Augustine to Winnipeg. Our GM is hard set that Casper is a part of this core. He is untouchable. So reluctantly, let's go ahead and make that trade. Now, I noticed that one of the players that he wanted us to target, Teuvo Teravainen, is still available in free agency. I tell him that Teravainen is still available at 3 years, 3.175 per. We get the A-OK. Let's go ahead and offer that. Teravainen accepts right away. Welcome to the team. We tell our GM that we're still nowhere near the cap floor at this point. He tells us to cheat the system. We're going to sign 1 player at league maximum with the lowest overall we can. Samuli Rantanen, welcome aboard. 1 year, $22.7 million for a 52 overall player. I need a shower. I feel greasy. I hate this, but here we go. I ask for permission to round out the AHL roster with a couple players here. Obviously, 1-year deals only, low overall players. We're going to go ahead and do that, and we'll see you guys at training camp. And with that, we've arrived at training camp of season 3 here. Let's take a look at the forwards. Rust, Larkin, Raymond, still a +5, but definitely a downgrade from DeBrincat there. Teravainen, Casper, Vilardi, definitely a better second line, but Teravainen just at an 81 now. Danielson, Frost, and Roslovic, our third line. -1 chemistry. Don't love that. Finally, Soderblom, Dano, Bransig, Nygaard. That's actually a fantastic 4th line. On defense, we've got Edvinsson and Sider. Edvinsson up to a 91 overall. Sider a 92. Johansson, Sandin Pellikka. Sandin Pellikka up to an 89 on the second pair. Finally, Buyam and Bernard Docker. 79 overalls, both getting a +1. Don't love that third pair. Our scratches are Dimitri, you know, I don't know how to pronounce it, but you know what I mean. Top 6 medium potential, 5'10", 24 years old, prime time for development. And Jesse Kiskinen, elite low, 81 overall. Should be playing. We'll see if we can convince the coach. In net, we've got Casa up to an 86 and John Gibson at an 83. And so we've told RoboGM we're going to provide him with a total roster overhaul before we start the simulation on season 3. Let's go ahead and get that done. We're told the final call, our roster construction as is an A rating. Not sure where he gets that from. I don't totally agree. We've spent our cap smart, but not been reckless with it. I do agree with that. And we think the competitive window is starting to open now. We're not going to make any moves before we start. So let's get to American Thanksgiving and check in on our status update. Before we even got to simulating, we got offered a trade from from the Rangers here, a second and a fifth in 2028 for both Soderblom and Betcher. After bringing the trade to the attention of my general manager, he says, yes, let's take it. Excess draft capital for more of our depth positions in the organization, so let's go ahead and accept. But Chelnikov now goes into that spot on the fourth line where he is a miserable fit chemistry-wise, obviously as a playmaker. That fourth line now getting a -1 chemistry-wise, but now we move to American Thanksgiving. And we arrive at American Thanksgiving here in season number 3, 10-7. Currently 4th in the division with way fewer games than anyone else. Raymond producing at a much better clip than he has out of the gate through any season yet so far. Even a guy like Brian Rust that we signed in the offseason, 6 goals through 17 games. Don't hate that at all. Sebastian Cossa through 14 games, 924 save percentage with a shutout and a 258 goals against. Gibson as the backup, man, 181 goals against, almost a 940 save percentage. Just 4 games, but goaltending is very encouraging this season already. We provide our GM with the update and we're told to simulate until New Year's. Don't change anything as of right now. Maybe quietly monitor 1 middle 6 upgrade, but only if the price is right. And now at our New Year's checkpoint here in season 3, the team is actually outperforming my expectations, certainly. 20-13-1. Currently 3rd in the Atlantic Division. Again, far fewer games than everyone else. Captain Dylan Larkin has really stepped up his play, leading the team 32 points, nearly point per game. Brian Rust has replaced every bit of Alex DeBrincat's offense at this point. 15 goals through 34 games, 25 points. Edvinsson and Sandin Pellikka, absolute studs. Velarde's been great. I'd love a little bit more production out of Casper. Jack Roslovic, his offense has fallen off a cliff. 2 goals in 34 games. In net, Cossa continues to be an absolute stud in his rookie season. 15-9-1 with a shutout, 921 save percentage, 250 goals against. We provide the update and we're told that we are not going to trade draft picks, not trade prospects, and not chase another winger. Obviously, Velarde and Rust have replaced a lot of the offense we lost in DeBrincat. The only move that we would consider maybe at the deadline if we're in the top 2 in the division is a defensive penalty-killing veteran defenseman on an expiring contract for maximum a 3rd-round pick. But with that, we're all clear to simulate at least until the trade deadline here in season 3. 35-25-2, keeping pace in a wild card spot currently at the deadline. Larkin continues to lead the team in scoring with 58 points. How about Edvinsson, though, by the way? 52 points and a +18 rating. Sandin Pellikka up to 43 points this year, -7. And it's crazy that Sider's lagging behind like crazy. He's still got 38 points and a +16 rating. It's clear our blue line is set up for success long-term here. Roslovic still not producing anywhere near what we need him to. Thank God he's an expiring contract. Sebastian Cossa currently 28-19-2 with a 912 save percentage, 2.87 goals against. He's a rookie goalie. You can't complain with these numbers. We asked ChatGPT for our trade deadline strategy, and this is what we get. We're going to try and add 1 defenseman mid-tier, nothing flashy. We're apparently 1 year away from being a true all-in team. Basically, what they want is for us to provide them a few names that might be realistic targets within their parameters. So let's go ahead and do that. After looking through the trade blocks, this is what we're left with that fit the parameters, what they were looking for. Number 1, Ryan Lindgren. Number 2, Damon Severson. 3rd is Brian Dumoulin. 4th is Chris Letang. And last but not least, Tyler Myers, who somehow has a $7.5 million cap hit. We're told that our best target is going to be Ryan Lindgren right now. Still just 30 years old, 2 years left. Currently on the Blackhawks, so we're going to enter the trade deadline, and that's probably the only move we'll make here. It looks like Lindgren is willing to come to Detroit. The package is Dravecki, a medium top 6 defenseman, and a 5th-round pick. We're told smash yes, no hesitation, so let's take that offer. Ryan Lindgren, welcome aboard. We ask our GM what he wants to do, sell anything, buy anything else, or move forward here. Final call is no more selling, no more buying. Let's advance to the playoffs and hope that we're a part of it. And post-trade deadline towards a playoff push, this is what our forwards look like. There's the blue line, Lindgren and Sandin Pellikka on that second pair. That's a phenomenal match. Cossa up to an 87 in net. Now let's make that playoff push. Now we arrive at the end of season 3, 43-36-3. We take a big step organizationally overall. It's still just not good enough. 4th in the division. We do not grab a wild card spot. We have a 4-way tie points-wise atop the NHL. Dallas Stars gets the tiebreaker. President's Trophy winners. Pittsburgh Penguins One of the worst seasons you will ever see. 58 points to finish dead last. Dylan Larkin led our team with 73 points. He was great. Simon Edvinsson, an absolutely spectacular season with 72 points, plus 24 rating. The guy averaged nearly 25.5 minutes of ice time per game too. Raymond's still a little disappointing that we're not getting close to a point per game with him. Brian Rust was a solid one-year mercenary. Casper's 27 goals. He definitely picked up his socks toward the end there. Outside of that, our depth was a little disappointing once again. We need to address this in the offseason, hopefully. Sebastian Casa's first year as a starter was a great one. He got into 63 games, 34, 26, and 3, 2 shutouts, a 2.72 goals against, 9.16 save percentage. He's a full-time starter. 87 overall, still elite medium potential, one more year to grow. Around the league, Cale Makar wins the Art Ross, 105 points. His partner in crime, Nathan McKinnon, takes the Rocket with 62 goals. Thatcher Demko leads all goalies in wins. He has 42. And if we look at rookie performances, Carter Yakimchuk, 55 points in his rookie year with Ottawa. Jesper Wallstedt's going to be a rookie forever. Finally, he's no longer qualified to be a rookie after this year. He and Casa actually have very similar seasons. And it was actually a phenomenal year for rookie goalies all the way around. It was the Anaheim Ducks taking down the New York Rangers in the Stanley Cup for year 3. Rangers kind of dominated the East, by the way, taking out Columbus in 5, Devils in 4, Islanders in 4, before losing the Stanley Cup to the Ducks in 6. Leo Carlsson goes point per game to lead the Ducks in scoring. Granlund at 36, still getting it done. And it was definitely a goaltender's playoffs. A lot of frustrated shooters. Look at those save percentage. Most of them well into the 90s. Year 3 awards as followed. McDavid takes the Hart Trophy. Cale Makar takes the Norris. He also grabs the Lady Byng. Yakimchuk takes the Calder. Leo Carlsson does in fact get the Conn Smythe. Jake Ottinger grabs the Vezina. He also gets the Jennings. Masterton goes to Graves. Panthers have clearly parted ways with Paul Maurice here. Their new coach Gerby takes the Jack Adams. Barkov takes home the Selke. McDavid gets the Ted Lindsay. Head back to ask our boss what the plan is moving forward into off season before season 4. We're told our task is to add one elite top line scoring winger, a Kirill Marchenko type profile, young, controlled, true finisher. We're told Brian Rust is expiring. We can't use him as a core trade chip, obviously. So I've got a little bit of information to provide our GM before we make an informed decision heading into the draft and free agency. But now the goal is clearly to get aggressive and turn us into a contender by adding one elite scorer and no more depth clutter. Results of the draft lottery are in here. Utah moves from 2 to 1. Calgary jumps from 6 to 2. The Penguins unfortunately dropping from 1 to 3. Unfortunately, we can't get lucky again. We're holding steadfast at 16. Brent Burns on the Toronto Maple Leafs headlines the retirement class this year. 928 points, almost 1,600 games. And Jonathan Quick finally calling it quits, 850 games. After providing all the information that we could for the offseason and the season ahead, including progress reports, contract status for our players, and the 10 best free agents at each position, we're left with this. The core remains Sider, Edvinsson, Raymond, Larkin, Casa, and Sandin Pellikka. Core prospect hierarchy, Casper somehow he still has as a prospect. Lawrence and Jacobson, who we just drafted. Trade capital now becomes Danielson, Bransig, Nygaard, and Kiskinen. And Mazur, Wallinder, and Johansson now become more depth pieces in the organization. With the number 16 pick, we're going to target the best offensive forward still available. Once we get to that pick, we'll send him a list of players still available and see if he wants to take someone or trade that pick. Because another objective we've been provided is to take one big swing. So a guy like Brady Tkachuk thinks the framework could be Danielson, pick 16, and something else. And if the trade falls through, we're going to target a guy like Oliver Bjorkstrand in UFA. We're going to let Brian Rust walk and replace him within the organization or with that trade. But the goal is to convert this team into a contender by adding one elite offensive piece. We've arrived at the 16th overall pick and we've called all our timeouts. There's been a lot of good players going around where we're drafting right now. Doesn't look like any of the guys that he wanted us to target have been taken, so we might end up keeping this pick. First overall to Utah was a franchise medium potential, 83 overall already, Bo Elliott. Sniper who's just going to absolutely wreak havoc on this league. Elite edges and big rig too. God, he'd be fun to play with in game. We're told ultimately that we're going to keep that pick because the other guys have no movement clauses in their contract. We're going to go ahead and draft Braden Barnes, who our scouts have as the 12th rated skater. Even Central Scouting had him as 15th overall. Had a great season with the battalion in the OHL. He's a sniper. No weaknesses, strength, skating, magic hands, and goal scoring. Similar style to TJ Oshie, and he is NHL ready. Supposedly elite medium. Let's see. And he is in fact an 80 overall elite medium sniper, right winger. And yeah, I mean, this kid's gonna fit in just fine to the lineup right away, I would think. Barnes immediately immediately jumps into your top prospect tier, and he's a long-term replacement or an upgrade path for aging wingers. As always, we're going to let our scouts draft the rest of these picks and see what happens. Maybe we'll get a crazy pick somewhere down the line here. Sandin Pellikka not interested in negotiating with us right now, so we're told to qualify and wait. We're going to let Brian Rust, Danault, Roslovic, and Bernard Docker walk. I think Danault still has a year left on that contract. We might actually just have to keep him as a cap floor piece. Bridge only. Casper, he's still signed. I don't think this guy truly understands how contracts work. Brandsic Nygaard and a bunch of our prospects to sign as well. We're still going to recircle and see if we can get Brady Tkachuk. I think he has full trade protection, but maybe let's revisit that. It's funny that our fallback plan is Alex DeBrincat since we let him walk already, but it's not going to be an overly busy offseason in terms of free agents, so let's go ahead and sim up to it. So we qualify Sandin Pellikka, who is currently looking for about $14.5 million a year on a 3-year contract, which we're obviously not going to do. Get a bunch of our depth guys signed here. Brandsic Nygaard comes back 2 years at 1.8 per, and we've arrived at free agency. I didn't realize that Brady Tkachuk was a UFA. We might actually take a swing here. Sandin Pellikka leads the class in terms of overall, 23 years old, elite medium potential at 90 overall. Still asking for over 14.5 for 5 years. We got to hope that number comes down a little bit. I go ahead and inform our GM that Brady Tkachuk is a UFA, asking for $10 million per year for 4 years. Did we do it? The answer is yes. Let's go ahead and sign that right now. So we're going to discuss a 4-year contract. I don't know if $10 million a season gets it done. We might have to improve that offer. I say we might have to bump it up closer to 11 million per to get him done. Does that change your mind? Because we have a boatload of cap space right now, we can still get him and Sandin Pellikka done, no problem. So we're giving the green light. Now he does want a clause in this contract. That might be a hard line in the sand, but let's see. Ultimately, we're told we're allowed to include a modified no trade clause in this deal. Go back and tell Brady the good news that we're willing to include a modified no trade. Gonna try and balance his ask with our needs, so we're gonna try and get as little protection as possible. 2014 no trade list still for him. We'll see if he'll accept it. He wants to play on the first power play unit. I don't think that's gonna be an issue at all. We can force that through. With that, the contract now has full interest, almost full organizational interest as well. This should go through. Brady Tkachuk, welcome to Detroit. After providing the good news, we're told that we are done making signings for this offseason already. We're not going to touch Sandin Pellikka's currently ask of nearly $15 million a season. Just like that, a very quick offseason, and we're ready to head into training camp. Last thing we're told before we actually do arrive at training camp is to monitor Sandin Pellikka's ask day by day. Try and get him either 8 years under 10 million, which would be fantastic, or if he wants to stay in that 5-year range between 10.5 and 11. And we are getting closer already. He's already down to 12.25 for 5 years, but I'm going to keep checking back and see if that drops even lower. And the ask has changed significantly as free agency starts to dry up a little bit. ASP now looking for 8.025 for 1 year. We're going to take that contract and kick the can down the road a year further. 8.025 for a year. You have no choice. You got to take this. So we gave him exactly what he asked for, and he rejects it somehow, saying it's not enough money. We're going to try and offer him the exact same thing yet again. Again, still no interest, which is hilarious because now that ask has dropped even further to 7.725. He's negotiating against himself currently, but in good faith, we're going to give him exactly what he was asking for last week, to which he still rejects. This is insanity. And now the ask has dropped even further to 7.3. We're down to 7.325 now. You know what? I'm willing to offer you that. Let's just get this done. This guy is an absolute trash human being. I swear to God. We've given him exactly what he asked for. Not only that, more than what he's asked for, and he's still unwilling to take the contract. The guy's ask is down to 7 million flat now. We're heading back into the most intense negotiation of all time here, and very generously yet again we've bumped that offer up to $7.75 million for 1 year, but now he has some playing time demands. He wants to play on the top pair, which we just can't do because of Moritz Seider. We can, however, guarantee him a spot on power play number 1. Finally, the terms are acceptable. Let's go ahead and offer that contract. I swear to God, if he rejects this again, I'm gonna lose. I thought that said reject. Thankfully, he comes to his senses and accepts the contract offer. And just like that, we're finally told now we can advance to training camp and lock the roster. No more signings. That was just miserable. However, before we were ready to take the ice, we got interrupted with a Robo GM press conference. So let's go ahead and throw to that.
Last season answered the questions. This core is real. Seider, Edvinsson, Raymond, and Casa didn't need protecting. They took the ice and proved they belong. This offseason wasn't about comfort. We drafted Braden Barnes to keep elite talent coming. We refused to overpay out of fear, and we stayed patient where patience mattered. Then we drew a line. Brady Tkachuk is here because this team earned the right to get harder, faster, and more dangerous. Season 4 isn't a rebuild year. It's not an experiment, it's a demand. The window is opening, and if you're not ready to push, you won't be part of it.
So the mandate's clear. We are starting to get a lot more aggressive as this window is opening up, hence the Tkachuk signing. That's how he pronounced it, I think. And if we go ahead and look at our lineup, it certainly reflects that. We are a lot deeper all the way around here. Tkachuk, Larkin, Raymond, what a top line that is. Second line might still struggle offensively. Bachelnikov needs to take a step this year. 83 overall, still top 6 medium at 25 years old. Puck skills are great. The guy is just a defensive black hole. Kasper and Velarde should be solid. Expecting Kasper to take a step this year again. Top 6 high at 86 overall, and he's rounding out into just a fantastic second line center. 3 years left on that Gabe Velarde contract that pays him $7.5 per. We need him to have a big 60-plus point season minimum. Teravainen, Danielson, Branson, Nygaard is the third line. Don't hate that. And finally, a very young, very inexperienced but fun line. Barnes, Lawrence, and Kiskinen. Kiskinen up to an 83 overall, low elite potential still. Lawrence, who we drafted back in 2026, now up to an 83 overall, elite medium potential still. And he might have Kasper's spot as soon as next season. And obviously we've got Braden Barnes, the rookie that we just drafted. 80 overall, elite medium potential. 6'2", big body sniper. On defense, we've got Edvinsson and Seider obviously staying together again, both at 92 overalls to start the season. Lindgren, who we picked up last year at the trade deadline, and Sandin Pellikka. Third pair still lacking a little bit. Buyam and Johansson. In net, Kossa's up to an 89. He's the real deal. Still elite medium, 25 years old. Last year, though, of his bridge contract that we somehow got him for it under $1 million. Gibson, as the backup, has regressed a fair bit, down to an 80 overall. Last year of his contract, so hopefully we have someone in the organization to promote after this. And it's going to be a big year for development for this top line in the AHL. Carter Bear up to an 80 overall, still top 6 medium at 21 years old. Could argue he could play in the NHL this year, but we're going to give him one more year to grow down there. Jackson Jacobson, who we drafted last year, up to a 79, elite medium potential, and thankfully is eligible for the AHL this year despite playing in the WHL as a teenager. And Hermanson looks like he's finally starting to progress a little bit as well. You might remember we got him in the second round in 2026 right after taking Lawrence. 77 overall, top 6 medium sniper at 20 years old. Need a big year out of all 3 of these guys. On defense, we just got guys that we signed to round out the roster here. And in net, Michael Prattle actually taking a step here, up to a 77 overall, 21 years old, medium starter potential. So we might have a backup option in-house if he has a massive year. So with that, we are ready to simulate up until American Thanksgiving in Season 4 of 10. We've arrived at American Thanksgiving here in Season 4 of 10 in the challenge. We currently sit second in the division, just behind the Leafs. Not off to an overly hot start. The division as a whole hasn't been great. Tell you who has been great, though, Axel Sandin Pellikka. Over a point per game, 20 points through 19 games to start the season. Larkin, Raymond, Tkachuk producing okay. I'd still like them to be above a point per game. Braden Barnes off to a good start, 9 points in 19 games as an 18-year-old. Lawrence not doing too bad either, 8 points through 19 games. It's that second line that's really killing us right now. Kasper just 8 points, Velarde was 7, Bachelnikov was 7 as well. We got to do something about that. Goaltending hasn't been nearly as good as it was to start last year. Kossa taking a little bit of a step back. 293 goals against, 908 save percentage, but it is still very early in the season. And like we always do, we provide a status update at American Thanksgiving here. Overall, they're pretty content with the direction so far this season, and we're actually going to skip the New Year's check-in at this point and simulate right up until the trade deadline. And now with the trade deadline, nothing changes as far as 1-2 in the division, still us and the Leafs. We had a stretch where we lost about 7 in a row, which really sucked. Coming into the deadline, I think winning 4 straight, which is nice. Kraken leading the league entirely right now. We're still right in that bubble playoff team spot, unfortunately. Sandin Pellikka continues to produce at an exceptional rate, 60 points through 62 games. Our forwards just are not getting it done. Lawrence and Barnes at least having decent rookie seasons on that fourth line. I got a feeling this Kiskinen experiment has to come to an end. The guy's just not producing, not developing. And in net, Sebastian Kossa has improved his numbers, if at only slightly. 276 goals against average, 912 save percentage. Record looks okay though, so we need him to continue to produce there. Not getting much help from Gibson as the backup right now. And we've been given a trade deadline strategy of buying smart, not going all in obviously as of yet because we're nowhere near contending contender status. Ideal target being a middle six winger with physicality and a cheap veteran defenseman with defensive reliability. Seems like that's the same thing we're trying to add every season. We're okay giving up a second round pick, a B tier prospect, and a roster forward like Teravainen, who's not producing very well. We do not spend a first, any blue chip prospects, or a core defenseman. We're offered Carolina's third round pick in 2029 via the Minnesota Wild for Teuvo Teravainen. 2 years left at 3.175 per. We're going to go ahead and accept that trade because Teravainen is looked at as a replacement level asset and use that third round pick to hopefully address some physicality in the bottom six. We see over here that Calgary has Nazem Kadri on the trade block. 82 overall might be a good add for the bottom six with some physicality. We're told to go ahead with that, but it's got to be for the right price. 2/3 and a throw-in depth piece. We'll see if that gets it done. Calgary's got to retain half to stay salary cap compliant, so we'll see if this happens. 2 third-round picks, it does go through. We get offered Trevor Moore for a second in 2030 and Philip Deneau, who's not even in our lineup, currently an expiring asset. Again, we're told we can accept this because it's not a rental move and it does fit in with the core. So Trevor Moore, welcome aboard. Now Vegas has offered us a trade here. Jeremy Lauzon in the last year of his contract, $2.5 million cap hit. I think he's still an 82 overall. In exchange for a 2029 third and a 2034th. Again, we're also given the green light to go ahead and take this deal. And with that, we've run out of time on the trade deadline. Funny enough, Jesperi Kotkaniemi heading to waivers, down to an 80 overall. Still 2 years left on that contract from the offer sheet. Our new look lineup post-trade deadline is as follows. Trevor Moore slots into that second line left wing spot with Casper and Velarde. Danielson, Lawrence, Nygaard now that third line. Barnes, Kadri, and Finney draws into the lineup. So our scratch has become Frost, Kiskinen, and Pachelnikov. Just negative values sitting there at 83 overall. It's crazy. Jeremy Lauzon, definitely a big upgrade on that third pair. Should help the penalty kill as well for us. And after these trade deadline moves have been made, we've been given the green light to simulate till the end of the regular season here. And we had just a phenomenal post-trade deadline run here. If you guys want to take a look at the schedule, including 2 massive wins over the Leafs, 8-1, and that momentum continued all the way through April till the end of the season. We took over top spot in the division with those trade deadline ads, ended with 100 points on the season. That was good for 6th spot overall in the entire NHL. Flyers finish in first, grabbing the President's Trophy, and it was the Blues finishing in last place, 66 points. Sandin Pellikka had 81 points to lead our team throughout the regular season. Just an absolute stud. Nazem Kadri post-trade deadline came over, played 4th line minutes for us, and still put up 18 points in 20 games. Lawrence and Barnes, both very solid rookie seasons, nearly 40 points for both of them. Trevor Moore, not the greatest fit on that second line, just 8 points in 20 games after coming over. And we knew we weren't going to get any offense from Jeremy Lauzon. He gets into 20 games for us, just 3 assists, but a +7 rating. Costa stayed consistent pretty much the whole season, 37, 20, and 2. 4 shutouts with a .915 save percentage, just over a 2.6 goals against, up to a 90 overall now as well. And in the AHL, the numbers won't jump off the page, but the guys that we needed to have good years definitely had solid seasons for us. Carter Bear's up to an 81 overall. Hermanson stays at a 77. We'll see if he gets some off-season growth maybe. Jackson Jacobson also remains steadfast at a 79 overall, but he'll probably get a big off-season jump. Now from around the league, it's another very low-scoring season. Connor McDavid takes the Art Ross with 92 points. Nathan McKinnon's going to grab the Rocket with 48 goals. Adam Fox has 90 points to lead all defensemen. Look at that. Sandin Pellikka creeping into the top 5. No goalies hit 40 wins on the season. Costa's still up there in the top 5 as well. As far as the rookie class goes, Landon DuPont led the way, 61 points with the Mammoth. 93 overall for the kid. Carter George with a solid rookie season in LA there, 29 wins. As far as the big picture takeaways from the end of season 4, we're told it's not a fluke season. We are a legitimate contender now at this point. We averaged nearly 3.5 goals for per game, which is actually a great offensive output. Sebastian Costa turned into a true number 1. I think we already knew that at this point. Sandin Pellikka leading the team in scoring as a defenseman, just unbelievable. He's now become untouchable. Between him, Seider, and Edvinsson, we are just so set on the blue line right now. Kadri and Tkachuk give us some much-needed playoff snarl this year. We show him the matchup against the Washington Capitals, how we stacked up numbers-wise throughout the regular season. We've got the edge in goals for per game. Also the edge in goals against. At 20.1%, we had the best power play in the league, and our penalty kill finished inside the top 10 as well at just under 87%. We get on paper, Detroit is better in every single team metric that wins playoff series. series, but obviously the game's not played on paper, so let's see what happens in round one. Round one, game one, our first time in the playoffs so far in this challenge. Down 1-0 after the first period. We fall behind 2-0, and we drop game one 4-2 against the Capitals. Need a big bounce back here in game two. We don't get it right away as we fall down 2-0 early to the Caps. Little bit of pushback here, 3-2 after 40 minutes in game two, but we still fall just short. We're gonna drop this one 4-3 and go down 0-2 to the Caps. Game three, pretty much do or die at this point, and we finally have a lead. We're up 1-0 after the first. That lead is very quickly evaporated as Washington goes up 2-1. They're gonna take this one 3-1. We are down 3-0 in the first round to the Caps. Oh God, let's try and at least get a win here, guys, please. And we're trailing 2-1 after one in game four. Big offensive output in the second. We're up 5-3 after 40 minutes, and we do hang on to at least get one game in this series. Detroit wins 6-3. And down 3-1, it's gonna take a miracle here, let's just be honest. That's not gonna help our chances. Down 1-0 after one. Down 3-2 after 40. Seems like a very familiar place we've been in this whole series. And Washington's going to eliminate us in 5 games in the first round. I tell our GM that we lost in 5 games, and we're told, we're not sugarcoating things, this is a failure, full stop. Told that we believe this is a systems issue and not necessarily a player personnel issue. And with a lot of decisions to make, we have to close out this season with a press conference from the GM. I'm sure this will be extremely pleasant and not reactionary at all. So let's see.
Let's be clear. This season ended in embarrassment. We didn't lose to a better team. We lost because we failed to adapt. And that's on the coaching staff and on me. You don't win the division and call a first-round exit progress. That's failure. Effective immediately, Todd McClellan has been relieved of his duties. This group needs a voice that can win in April, not just manage games in November. This team was built to dictate. Next season, there are no excuses. We're here to win. And if you can't handle that pressure, you won't be part of this organization.
And we just weren't good enough. I mean, we got outperformed by that Washington team, clearly. Lights were probably a little bit too bright for our rookies as well. Casa in his first playoffs, not good. Nearly a 3.5 goals against and less than a 90 save percentage. And we know for a fact that Todd McClellan is officially relieved of his duties. I've been tasked with finding a replacement coach with a better team fit. Outside of that, the main offseason objective is to add one more playoff grade top 6 forward, extend Sandin Pellikka right away, try and retool the bottom 6 with a little bit more bite and edge, and continue to allow Casa to take the net. Despite us being eliminated, there were in fact more teams continuing to play, believe it or not. Columbus, the last one standings, they take down the Avalanche in 6 games to win the cup. McKinnon, the high scoring point man in the playoffs with 26, and Sergei Ivanov, 16-1-3 for Columbus in the playoffs, a 2.61 goals against and 9.17 save percentage. Now we'll check out some of the hardware winners. Adam Fox takes the Hart Trophy, and of course also gets the Norris. Let's just give him every award. Adam Fox takes home the Lady Being as well. Landon DuPont, the Calder winner. Kirill Marchenko gets the Conn Smythe, and that hurts mainly because when we were told to go out and look for a forward, we were told to look in that Kirill Marchenko archetype, and ended up with Brady Tkachuk, who mixed results in year 1 with us. Demko takes the Vezina. Shesterkin gets the Jennings. Graves again with the Masterton. Spencer Carberry takes home the Jack Adams. Barkov gets the Selke again, and McKinnon the Ted Lindsay. After checking in with all of our guys who are on expiring contracts, I provide them with a list of where everyone's at currently. Edvinson's asking for a 1-year, $13.125 million contract. We're not going to do it. We're going to qualify him and then wait till that ask comes down. Same thing with Sandin Pellikka, who's currently asking for 5 years, $15.3 per. Marco Kasper does not want to extend with us. We're going to trade his rights immediately. Move him either for picks or as a sweetener for a playoff winger. Vichelnikov and Frost, we're going to let them both walk. Kiskinen, we're going to bring back. Kadri, we're going to let walk despite being fantastic for us. Jeremy Lazon and Ryan Lindgren, we're going to bring back. They could be a great third pair for us. Finally, Sebastian Costa is looking for 1 year at 9.15. What's with these guys and their 1-year contracts? So again, we're going to wait for that to come down a little bit. Nice that we have a couple guys that can play center in the organization that can replace Kasper. Lawrence and Jacobson both. I've gone ahead and already handled a lot of the negotiations as long as they fall within the parameters of what our GM's looking for. Jeremy Lazon's coming back to the organization, 2 years, 2.9 per. Ryan Lindgren coming back 3 years at 2.6 per. Carter Bear locks in for 2 more years at under $1 million per season. Kiskinen back with the team as well. Guy never plays. I don't know why he's here. 1 year, 1.5. Results of the draft lottery are in. Ottawa jumps from 9 to 1. Boston goes from 5 to 2. St. Louis drops from 1 to 3. Buffalo from 2 to 4. Calgary from 3 to 5. And then so on and so forth with a domino effect. Evgeny Malkin headlining the retirement class this year. 1,561 points. But a lot of big names choosing to retire this year. Stamkos, Marchand, Panarin, Hedman, O'Reilly, Seguin, Eberle, and Doughty, to name a few. Peter Mrazek, the top goalie to retire this year. 211 wins in the career, almost 500 games played. And there's really not much appealing in the draft right now where we sit at 27. Ottawa gets an elite high center power forward at 78 overall with the first overall pick. No franchise potentials this year. And interestingly enough, on the draft floor, it's Washington, the team that took us out, approaching us with a trade. They want Marco Kasper and his expiring contract. He is still an RFA. 86 overall, 25 years old, top 6 high, along with 27th overall. For Fervari, who's 29 years old, 85 overall, top 4 defenseman. 5 years left at 6.6. Tom Wilson, who's an 85 overall now at 35 years old. He's still got 3 years remaining at 7.15 per. And they're going to throw in a 2030 third round pick as well. We present the trade to RoboGM, who says this is the exact kind of no excuses trade we said we'd make. Approve the deal. Then we're going to move on to contract cleanup before getting to training camp. So we go ahead and accept the offer from Washington. Tom Wilson and Brady Tkachuk on the same team. I would hate to play against that. We only have 3 more picks. Our scouts are going to handle the rest of them. After circling back and providing the ask for each RFA that we still have to lock up, we're told the term and cap hit on Sebastian Cossa is fine, but we are not handing out a no movement clause to a goalie. Sandin Pellikka, who wants 7 years at 14.425 and a no movement clause in years 4 through 7. That's a hard no. We're told we can go 8 years between 10 and 11 maximum. We may even trade from a position of strength because he doesn't have a ton of organizational interest. Simon Edvinsson asking for 7 years, 13.325 plus a full no movement. Again, yes to long term, but we are not handcuffing ourselves with a no move clause. Gonna head in and qualify them all quickly here, and we have to hit him with the news that we are not going to be giving him a no movement clause here. With that, we're gonna head and offer this contract 8 years at 9.1 per and see if he takes it. And as far as Edvinsson go, we've managed to talk him down to taking a $1.5 million per season discount. That gets him at 11.825 over 7 years. We go ahead and submit that offer and he accepts. With that, we end the conversation. We're going to see if Cossa and Edvinsson accept. Cossa returns at 9.1 per season over 8 years. Forgot that Edvinsson already accepted that contract. We also got to keep in mind that we have just 12.3 million in cap space remaining. We're finally close to a cap team, so there might need to be some harsh decisions made in the near future as well on that. And our GM just can't make up his mind. Our immediate action plans are as follows: explore moving Trevor Moore before the season starts, listen on Lindgren and Lazan, who we just signed, and if Tom Wilson declines, the guy that we just picked up, shop him at the deadline. So we're gonna clean up one expensive winger, probably Trevor Moore, one redundant defenseman. We still have Booyah making like 2.3 in the minors. Let's go ahead and get that taken care of first before jumping into free agency. With coaches here, we're gonna land on Landon Yoshimura. He's a defensive specialist and has a 75% team fit with us. He's an A- overall, A for offense, A- for defense, B for power play, A+ for penalty kill, B- teaching, and C for coaching influence. We're offered a third round pick from the Utah Mammoth for Trevor Moore that we've been given the green light to go ahead and accept. Utah keeps having the best pick offers, so we're going to send Booyah to them for a fourth. And now that we've arrived at free agency, we've been given a whole other direction here. We're done waiting around for Sandin Pellikka, and we're going to be shopping him for an elite forward. Went back and provided a list of trades that might be appealing for us to make. Ultimately, ChatGPT has decided that this is the best one. Sandin Pellikka for Musty, Misa, and a first round pick. We're told it's a slam dunk because we're turning one expensive, increasingly toxic asset into a potential franchise forward, a cost control playoff style winger, and a 2031 first. Obviously, we've still got Sider, Edvinsson, and then we've still got a guy like Fervari on our second pair. So the trade goes through and we're about ready to head to training camp. And one thing I forgot to check, Michael Misa actually has a contract extension beyond this year, but it's not at a bad number. 9.975 for 5 years. We'll take it. I believe that keeps him under contract for the rest of the challenge. I had to go back and check, and it looked like San Jose did ultimately cave and gave Sandin Pellikka 14.6 over 7 years. But we've arrived at training camp with what looks like a much more potent lineup this season. Tkachuk, Misa, and Raymond on the top line. Larkin now demoted to that second line with Musty and Velarde. Branson Nygaard, Lawrence, and Barnes on the third line. Hoping for a big step from both of them. Lawrence already up to an 85 overall. Finally, we got Carter Bear, Danielson, and Tom Wilson on the fourth line, making 7.2 or something like that for the next 3 years. On defense, it's the usual suspects at the top there. Edvinsson and Seider. Berivari and Lausanne is the second pair. Lindgren and Wallinder finally making his way into the NHL lineup there. In net, Costa stays at a 90 overall. Michael Prattle up to an 80 is his backup. Still starter, medium potential. After coming back in and providing screenshots for RoboGM, informing him about the current lineup status, letting him know Jesse Kiskinen is our only scratch player right now. We're told the lineup looks solid and dangerous. As far as Kiskinen goes, we're going to revisit around 20 games in, and if Barnes is stalling offensively, we might swap him out. But for now, we're given the go-ahead to begin season 5 of 10 in this challenge. So let's check back in 20 games. 20 games into season 5 here, and we're certainly not lighting the league on fire by any means, but we're having a decent start. 25 points through 20 games, 12, 7, and 1. Positive 10 goal differential is nice, and Brady Tkachuk has really found his stride and his scoring touch here. Maybe struggled a little bit to find consistency last year, but that top line is humming along right now. 22 points for both Tkachuk and Raymond, who tie for the team leading points. Newcomers Misa and Musty are fitting in pretty well. And again, we're not absolutely running away with anything, but we are getting contributions from guys we need to get them from. In net, Sebastian Cossa off to a decent start. Goals against average still a little bit high. 9-10 save percentage, you'd like to see that a little bit higher as well. Michael Prattle, though, is the backup. Rookie season, only 5 games, but a 3-1 record, 936 save percentage, 214 goals against. After providing the 20-game update, what we do like so far is that the top line is clicking. 22 points for both Tkachuk and Raymond so far. They are driving play on that top line, and we're not worried about Misa just having 15 points despite the other two guys being above point per game, because he does have a shooting percentage of 4.9 so far. So once that normalizes, the line will be even more lethal. Edvinsson absolutely carrying the load on offense from the blue line, 19 points in 20 games, and we think Cossa is fine for now. Not stealing games, but not losing them either, giving our team a chance. Now on to what we don't like. The bottom 6 is dead weight offensively. Bear, Barnes, Wilson, and Lawrence hovering around 0.4 points per game. No power play impact, and passengers at 5-on-5. Tom Wilson contract is already a problem. That is on you. You chose to accept that trade. 7.15 million for fourth line output. I mean, yeah, he's still useful, but he cannot be a part of your long-term top 9 vision. He's already on the fourth line, so he's definitely not part of that. And then finally, the defense pairings are carrying a weak link. Top pair, obviously elite, untouchable. Second pair, solid, but unspectacular. And the third pair is replacement level. So the adjustments we need to make are as followed. Kiskinen comes in for either Bear or Barnes. We're going to reduce Tom Wilson's ice time. Not even sure if that's possible. Slightly shelter Cossa. We can't really control that. We're going to move to about game 40 now. And if Wilson hasn't picked up his production, which I don't see happening, we're going to look at moving him with retention if needed for a faster middle 6 winger or center. So let's go ahead and hop back in game. We sub Kiskinen in for Barnes after 20 games. The only thing that let us keep a positive chemistry on that third line. Kiskinen's still an 82 overall, 24 years old, elite low potential. Basically just hoping he can inject some life into that third line. Carter Bear's not a liability in that fourth line role either, so we're fine keeping him there for now. Now 40 games into the season, our pace hasn't really improved all that much. We're sitting at 47 points, an 11 goal differential, so 1 better than 20 games ago. Also just 3 points behind the Sabres for first in the division. Still a top 10 team in the league. The parity this season especially is absolutely insane. I mean, from 29th to 10th place is only separated by 9 points, which is insane. Edvinsson leading our team in scoring, 38. Seider's picked it up as well, 35 points. The wingers have definitely cooled off a little bit. Tkachuk just 6 goals in his last 20 games. Still on pace to have over 40 for the year though, so can't complain about that. And Misa's had a really rough go of it, just 8 points in his last 20 games. Velarde making 7 million plus on that second line is tough right now, just 17 points in 40 games. Tom Wilson certainly hasn't improved his pace. Kiskinen, however, coming in on that third line, 12 points in 20 games. Looks like that was a good decision. Cossa still putting up about the same numbers as he was early on. Prattle's taking a step back, but that's to be expected. He's only also gotten into 8 games so far this year. Deadline objectives are as follows. As long as we stay top 3 in the division with a goals for above 3.1 and a goals against below 3, I like these exact metrics, then we only add a single defenseman, no escalation. But if we do fall to a wild card spot or our goals against spikes, then we're going to add both a defenseman and a depth winger. So we're going to keep everything status quo for now, but have another check-in day before trade deadline. Arrived at trade deadline eve, and despite being second in the division, I'm pretty sure our goals against spiked big time. There weren't many games where we weren't giving up 4+. It's a miracle we won more than we lost, but we do sit second with 71 points, 34, 24, and 3. Just outside of the top 10 in the league, and again, the parity is still insane this season. The top line has been clicking once again. Raymond now a team-leading 58 points. Kachuk scoring at a great pace again. He's up to 33 goals in 61 games. And even Misa's up that shooting percentage to 11.5. He was at 6, I think, in our 40-game check-in. Velarde's production still not where we'd like it to be. Kiskinen, however, on that fourth line has been lights out. 26 points in 41 games. 7 points on the power play, so he's really helped there as well. Couple areas of concern for sure. Wallinder and Lindgren on that third pair combined 15 points. I know they're not being paid to produce, but that's still way too low. Jeremy Lauzon up to 169 penalty minutes. I don't like that at all. Tom Wilson's contract is just a boat anchor that I think hopefully we get rid of at this deadline. I'm not opposed to keeping him going into the playoffs, but ultimately it's not my call. In net, nothing's really changed. Both guys humming along at about the same pace they've been on all season. Instructions are in. We are buyers, not mortgagers for the trade deadline. We won't trade our first unless it clearly upgrades our playoff ceiling. We're not going to touch any of the core. What we're going to do is add experience and structure as we prepare to beat Ottawa, Montreal, or Tampa in a 7-game grind. We're told what we really need is top 6 winger or top line insurance. That's a big swing. Right or left wing, 85 to 90 overall. Preferably a two-way or power forward. I don't agree with that, but okay. Term preferred, rental acceptable if the price is right. Next, we're going to upgrade on Ryan Lindgren at the deadline. Looking for a third pair left or right defenseman, shot suppression, and penalty kill help. It's a shame because that was supposed to be his role. Not going to touch the backup goaltending at all. We've got a list of untouchables on the list here. Tradable pieces. Interesting to note here, mid-tier prospect. Barnes has been added to that list. Crazy to call this guy a mid-tier prospect. 19 years old, 82 overall, elite medium potential. Again, we can't veto, we can't make a pushback here, so if he wants to move him, at least he'd be a good trade chip to acquire some top 6 insurance. So we're going to shop Lindgren aggressively, see if we can upgrade there. Take a look at some of the top 6 wingers that might be available, and if the price is right, we'll act on it. So we do it the GM ask, we shop Lindgren aggressively, and the best offer that comes back is Edmonton for a third and a fourth. We're going to take that. One of the defensemen who is available on the block is Ryan Pulock. Last year, paying him 6.15, and it's basically going to be a straight swap via proxies with other teams here. Sent Lindgren out, and for the exact same package, we're bringing Pulock in. It is fun. Matthew Tkachuk is available as the best forward available right now. He's a little bit higher overall than what we're looking for, which means we'd have to give up a ton to get him. Look at his trade value. Outside of Tkachuk, I'm taking a look around the league. It doesn't look like there's anything that fits the bill. Even Jared McCann down to an 84 overall, top 6 sniper. Remember, we're looking for a two-way forward or power forward. We find a trade for Ellie Tolvanen, who's got 1 year left at 7.155. Just 30 points, 30 years old. He is an 85 overall power forward, so that fits the bill. Again, last year of that contract, we're giving up a 20-year-old, 74 overall, top 9 forward. Sniper that we just took in the second round, not producing great at the AHL level. 2 third-round picks as well. You know what? This fits the bill, and he's the only guy that's available for a reasonable price. I know he's expiring, but we said if the price was right, we'd take it. So Tolvanen comes aboard. It would have been great to add the other Tkachuk brother, but unfortunately wasn't in the cards. That's all the moves we're going to be making at this deadline. Post-trade deadline, this is what we're left with. We sent Barnes back down to junior so he could get a little bit more playing time. I know he's an 82 overall. I know it's late in the season, but he wasn't going to play for us, and we can't send him to the AHL. Tkachuk, Misa, Raymond stays the same. Musty, Larkin, Tolvanen on that second line. Ransig, Nygaard, Lawrence, and Velarde on the third. Kiskinen, Danielson, and Wilson on the fourth line. On defense, we're actually shifting things up a little bit. It's going to be Fervari paired with Sider on the top line. Edvinson moves down to the second with Pulock. And finally, we've got Wallinder and Lauzon on the third pair. We're given an A- rating for the trade deadline. Upgrading Lindgren to Pulock is a massive upgrade, full stop. Lindgren was a liability trending toward replacement level. This stabilizes the right side behind Sider immediately. We're told the acquisition of Tolvanen, yes, he's a UFA, but that's fine. This team is at the pay the toll stage. So we're hoping to hold top 2 in the Atlantic, and we're going to simulate to the end of the regular season now. And at the end of the regular season, we do indeed hang on to a top 2 spot. We do it one better. We get that first place spot locked up. 100 points, 4 clear of second place Montreal. 48, 30, and 4 was our record. 275 goals for, 236 against. Not bad at all. Rangers took home the President's Trophy this year. Panthers and Penguins had a really rough rough go of it. Panthers scoring just 177 goals this season. In terms of goals for, we were the third best team in the league. Pretty much middle of the pack when it came to goals against per game at 2.88. Strong finish to the season for Lucas Raymond. He leads the team in scoring with 76. Sider finished strong as well, 72 for him. Misa matched his point total from last year. I think they're exactly the same, 65-65. Brady Tkachuk didn't hit the 40 goal mark, but still very close with 38. Larkin has 62 points and actually regresses a little bit down to an 86. That'll be one to monitor this offseason. Tynan Lawrence, a very solid second season. 52 points, playing mostly third line minutes for us. Plus 26, still elite medium potential up to an 86. Even if we drop Larkin down to the third line, looks like we have a replacement. Tolvanen came in post-trade deadline. 12 goals, 7 assists, 19 points in 21 games. 3 power play goals and shot 21.1%. We can't bank on that keeping up throughout the playoffs. Musty, a solid first year with us, 24 goals. Kiskinen split his time between the third and fourth line, 33 points in 62 games, not bad at all. And a lot of our depth defensemen still aren't producing offensively necessarily, but again, we're one of the highest scoring teams in the league anyways. We got to focus more on keeping the puck out of the net. Costa goes 39, 27, and 4 shutouts, a 2.7 goals against, and 916 save percentage. Prattle is the backup, really solid record at 9-3. 3.28 goals against, little high. Save percentage 903 is fine for a backup. Taking a look around the league, McDavid and Rantanen tied for the Art Ross Trophy, 96 points apiece. Matthews hits 50 goals and takes the Rocket. Low scoring season again though, like Brady was only 4 goals behind second place. It was Adam Fox leading all defensemen with 90 points. How about Big Mo Sider though, plus 52. We got the top 2 guys in terms of plus minus there. Shesterkin had 44 wins. He cleared all goalies by 4. 6 shutouts at 238 and 922. Vasilevsky still getting it done at 35. He and Fowler both have 8 shutouts apiece. Fowler up to a 90 overall for Montreal there. Alan Schwartz and Chase Reed tie with 47 points apiece for the rookie scoring lead. I mean, Andrianov's got to get it as the rookie goalie though. 40, 15, and 7 with Columbus. Got to be the Calder winner. 3 shutouts and a 912 save percent. We provide an end of the season update with all the stats in tow and told that this is no longer a promising team. This is a contender. We are expecting results. Deep playoff run this year. So without further ado, let's get into it. First round opponent here is going to be the Leafs. Let's take a look. Michelli, Matthews, and Nylander on that top line. They've definitely got the edge on that one. Nyes, Waugh, and Talbot on their second line. Hemming, Tavares, and Cowan on that third line. Pretty even throughout the top 9. We might have a slight edge in terms of overall depth there. Fourth line, we blow them out of the water. Olesen, Perrott, and Kasperi Kapanen returning to the Leafs at 33 years old. Blue line, we clear them easily. It's not even remotely close. Loré and Carlo as their top pair. Matt Roy, Dante Fabro as the second. Poirier and DeMello down to a 76. We should absolutely feast on that blue line. In net, they've still got Joseph Woll. He's holding steady at an 85 overall. Dennis Hill to be backing him up at 82. I think it would be crazy to say that we are not the hands-down favorites in this series, but again, the game's not played on paper. Let's see what happens. Game 1, round 1, tied at 1 after 1. Musty and Hemming with the goals. Leafs go up 2-1 after 2. It's Poirier, and I can't believe we're dropping this game. Game 1, Leafs take it 5-2. None of their big guys even scored. Are we due for another insane first round collapse? Game 2, gotta be a big bounce back win here. Find ourselves up 1 after 1. Dylan Larkin, 3-0 after 2. That's more like it. Sider and Raymond add goals. We take this one 5-0. Bransick, Nygaard, and Velarde with the insurance. Hossa gets the shutout. Series even at 1. We head to game 3. Scoreless after 1 in game 3. 2-1 Toronto. Again, still none of their big guys. Waugh and Roy score, funny enough. Kachuk for us. Matthews gets his first goal of the series. Leafs take game 3. 4-1. Game 4, another basically do or die, it feels like here. Boys come out strong. We're up 3-1 after 1. Kachuk, Larkin, and Kachuk again. Happening for the Leafs. Double it up after 2. Bransick, Nygaard, Kachuk with the hat trick. Kiskinen, Talbot the lone goal for the Leafs. We bend but not break in the third period. Hang on to win this one 6-4. Huge swing game here in game 5. Find ourselves down 1 after 1. Nick Waugh. Games tied at 3 after 2. Musty, Velarde, Bransick, Nygaard for us. Nyes and Nylander for the Leafs. We just needed 1 in the third, and we got it. Dylan Larkin, huge win in game 5. We take it 4-3. Up 3-2 in the series. Can we close it out here in game 6? Finally win a round. Not a great first period. We find ourselves down 3-2. Leafs get goals from Michelli, Fabro, and Nyes. Danielson and Musty for us. 2 big goals, Kachuk and Bransick, Nygaard. Leafs tie it at 4, and wouldn't you know it, we're going to overtime in this one. Talbot is absolutely killing us right now. Leafs take this one 5-4 in overtime, and we are headed to game 7 7, because of course. 1-1 after 1 in Game 7. Misa and Matthews. We're up 2-1 after 40 minutes thanks to Brady Tkachuk. Nylander ties it up, and of course, we're heading to a Game 7 overtime, where Austin Matthews ends the season and we lose again in the first round. It's the Ducks capturing the cup in 7 over the Habs today. And apart from that cup final, the Ducks just had an easy go of it. 5 games to take down Edmonton, 5 to take down Chicago, a sweep of the Kings. Again, Montreal, the only team that gave them a hard time, taking them to 7. I mean, even Montreal through those first 2 rounds swept Ottawa, swept Toronto, lost 2 to Columbus, so they even had the exact same record through 3 rounds. Equally matched opponents there in the cup final. Brady Tkachuk was fantastic in the playoffs for us. Goal per game, over a point per game. Raymond was clearly his setup guy. Larkin and Musty, very solid. Edmondson, obviously great as usual. But a guy like Branson Nygaard had 4 goals in 7 games. Misa, very disappointing. Tolvanen, extremely disappointing after the season he had with us. Oh, we just didn't get any depth goal scoring whatsoever. Casa was nowhere near good enough. 337 goals against, 902 save percentage. Cutter Gauthier and Leo Carlson tie with Nick Schmaltz for the playoff lead in scoring. They all had 25. Lucas Dostal and Jacob Fowler were just absolutely spectacular throughout the playoffs. Dostal just that much better. 930 save percentage, 234 goals against. As far as the individual hardware goes after season 5, Wyatt Johnston gets the Hart Trophy. Adam Fox gets another Norris. Johnston also takes home the Lady Being. Schwartz grabs the Calder. Cutter Gauthier, the Conn Smythe winner. Vezina goes to Shesterkin. Also takes the Jennings. And for the 3rd straight year, Ryan Graves gets the Masterton. Tampa's coach gets the Jack Adams. TJ Ginla gonna win the Selke. And Wyatt Johnston also gets the Ted Lindsay. And again, the 2nd straight season, we're forced to walk back into our GM's office, tail between our legs, tell him that we unfortunately fell in 7 after winning the division again. We're told the window is open. We just won the division and went 7 games in round 1. But the priority is shifting from upside to playoff reliability. Untouchables are Raymond, Larkin, Tkachuk, Sider, and Edvinson. Everyone else is movable depending on the return. The first thing we're going to address is a proven playoff secondary scorer. 27 to 32 years old, power forward, or a heavy shooter. They must have playoff production history, and we will slightly overpay if needed. Second, discipline and structure on the blue line. Lausanne's penalties hurt us. They certainly did. He had like 210 penalty minutes. Ferivari and Pulak are fine, but we need one calm, playoff-tested right D if available. If not in free agency, then we'll explore the trade market using the future Sharks pick, not our own. Bottom 6 needs to have an identity. Kill penalties, finish checks, and not take dumb penalties. We're told to keep one of Wilson or Lausanne for edge. Replace the rest with low-cost, defensively reliable vets. Even after his awful playoffs, we're told to try and extend Tolvanen. Musty and Misa obviously stay. We're going to actively shop Velarde, Danielson, and one of Kiskinen or Branson Nygaard. And in free agency, we pursue exactly 2 signings, a top 6 playoff winger and a bottom pair right D or elite PK forward. We're going to keep our first round pick this year unless it lands us a proven playoff scorer. The Sharks' first next season is our ammo right now. So we provided a boatload of screenshots to RoboGM so they can make as informed a decision as possible here. After all, we are heading into year 6 of 10. We got back the following. Our true core is going to be Sider, Edvinson, Raymond, Casa, Misa, Tkachuk, and Lawrence. Our support pieces that we would move for the right price, but ideally would keep, are going to be Musty, Velarde, Danielson, Ferivari, Tolvanen, which is interesting. Pulak, also very interesting, and Tom Wilson, extremely bizarre. I asked them to re-rank our total prospects in the organization and take out any guys that were over 25 years old. Also remove guys that were NHL regulars already. For some reason, Kiskinen and Branson Nygaard are still there. I must not have understood the assignment. We're told the guys that we must keep as RFAs are Danielson, Jacobson, and Barnes. Barnes is still under contract. So was Jacobson, actually. Kiskinen we're going to keep if he's cheap, and Branson Nygaard we're going to retain or flip. No overpayment there. And we're going to cut and non-tender anyone not projected to play meaningful NHL minutes in the next 18 months. As far as goaltending goes going forwards, we're not touching anything. We're fine with what we've got in place right now. We do want to add one elite playoff scorer, top 6, 88 to 92 overall. So again, a big swing here. Proven in the postseason, this is where Musty plus prospects and picks go. Bottom 6 speed and penalty kill focus, agree with that, and no long-term deals for players 33 and older. Wilson and Pulak are stopgaps, not commitments. That Wilson trade, I will die on that hill. That handcuffed us completely. At the end of his statement, he's told us that this is the time to push the chips all in. Sounds like this is the offseason. We're finally getting super aggressive, and I can't wait. Crosby and Ovechkin finally decide to call it quits here. How fitting they retire together. Sid, 42 years old as a member of the Calgary Flames, 2,044 points. Retires at an 84 overall at 42. That's still very solid. Ovi, 44 years old, 1,078 goals in his career. A member of the Vegas Golden Knights. He would have so much fun there. Kane, Giroux, Duchesne, Kadri, a couple of the other big names to retire. Cam Talbot headlines the goalie retirement list. 338 wins in almost 700 games. And I forgot to show the lottery results, but here we are. St. Louis is going to pick 1. Panthers, despite that awful season, at 2. Penguins 3. Dallas 4. And St. Louis 2 picks in the top 5. We're going to pick 25th in this draft. Once we get to the pick, we'll see what happened earlier in the top 5 picks, see what's available, and inform our GM. St. Louis had the first pick. They take Jorgen Omar, 82 overall, elite medium potential at 18 years old. Sniper, who is definitely NHL ready. Panthers get an elite 81 overall defenseman with number 2. Penguins an elite medium 81 overall, two-way defenseman at number 3. Stars elite medium center, two-way forward, 81 overall. And St. Louis drafted an elite medium right wing sniper with their first pick. They get the exact same thing with their second pick, this time 80 overall. So we end up here at pick 25 overall. We'll see what's available. We got Jimmy Smolinski here. What a great name. Scouts have him ranked as the 22nd player in this draft. Central Scouting at 25. Looks to be a top 4 medium player. Similar style to Justin Falk, NHL ETA 3 years. So again, information we have to pass on. We give him the information on Jimmy Smolinski, and ultimately we're told to draft him despite the 3-year waiting time, mainly because our prospect pool is lacking any defenseman to speak of, really. So we will go ahead and draft Jimmy Smolinski here. Please, scouts. Of course, he was not a top 4 defenseman. He was a top 6. Oh boy, this one stings. I tell our GM we took him. He was top 6. Our scouts were wrong. He tells us that actually makes the pick better, not worse for some reason. Top 6 defense medium instead of top 4 means the ceiling dipped, but the floor stayed NHL reliable. He seems overly optimistic about this one. God knows why. But we're going to let our scouts handle the rest of the draft like always. After the draft, we tell him what we're left with in terms of cap space, who we have left to sign, and what they're asking for. The only 2 guys that we are left to sign are Danielson and Branson Nygaard. We're going to try and negotiate their cap hit down a little bit here. Kulak, Kiskinen, and Tolvanen we're going to let walk. Obviously, Kiskinen, we can still qualify as an RFA, so we'll trade his rights away. Should leave us with about $4.5 million in cap space. I guess we're not taking a swing for a big forward. We'll see if he changes his mind at all. Tolvanen, thanks for nothing. See ya. Kulak, thanks for nothing. See ya. Obviously, these guys we qualified. Danielson asking for that 2-year deal, 4 3/4 per. We're going to ask if we can get him a little more team friendly. Give us 500 grand in terms of a discount. Seems to still be interested in this. Let's submit it and see what happens. Branson Nygaard, we're told to sign as well. He's looking for a 3-year contract, 3.1 per. We'll try and get a little discount, 350 grand per season. 3 years at 2.75 per for him would be fantastic at this point. Still just 24, 84 overall, top 6 potential. And as per the GM's request, we're going to let anyone who wouldn't be playing NHL games in the next 18 months walk away. We clean up our current contract situation, and we still have a lot of holes to fill, not much space. Danielson accepts the offer. He's coming back. Same with Branson Nygaard, so that's good at least. Just $6.7 million in cap space right now, currently at 30 contract spots filled. Luckily, there is a lot of money coming off the books in the next couple years, but we still got to replace those spots as well. So after simulating to free agency, making the decisions we needed to, we provide our RoboGM with a total contract overview of the organization as a whole. We're told our goal is to now win the Stanley Cup within 12 months, so we're getting very aggressive now. No long-term dead cap, no development years, no paying for reputation over impact. Our offseason objective remains the same: add 1 elite game-breaking forward. In terms of who may be available in free agency, they want Elias Pettersson as number 1, William Eklund as number 2, and Cole Caulfield as number 3. That's with guys like McKinnon and Pasternak hitting UFA status potentially. Obviously, they're a little bit older. Kucherov as well. We're sent a list of untouchables once again, and a list of guys that we would be willing to move. We're not going to do anything major on defense. We will address that bottom 6 philosophy, trying to add a couple vets, but ultimately we want to add 1 elite forward still. Ideally, leave ourselves around $500,000 to $1 million in cap space heading into the regular season. The decision on Kiskinen is final. We have decided it's time to move him. We're going to take the best picks offer at this point. 2nd and a 4th from the Rangers is the best offer. We tell him we traded Kiskinen for the best pick package available. Unfortunately, everyone that he wanted in free agency has been locked up, so we're going to have to explore the trade market. We're looking at either moving Danielson, who we just signed, or Musty, who we just acquired, played 1 season with us. Uri Slavkovsky from the Canadiens is one guy who fits the bill, 90 overall, 26 years old. He's still cost controlled for 3 more seasons, 7.6 per. Obviously, he is a power forward. He fits the bill of what we're looking for playoff hockey. Basically, his last 3 playoffs, he's been a point per game player. Montreal offers us Slavkovsky for Barnes and Musty. We got to present that to our GM here. We get the green light to go ahead and accept this one, and this is a franchise-altering move here. Welcome aboard, Uri Slavkovsky. Gonna go ahead and send a screenshot of defensemen within our price range here to see who he wants to sign. We're told to sign Timothy Liljegren, and we're also gonna add Simon Behrens there as the secondary option because we need 2 guys. Liljegren accepts right away, 3 years, 2.7 per. Behrens, 1 year at 8.75. It's great depth, whatever. And we got the green light once Liljegren's signed to advance to training camp. We arrive at training camp in season 6 of 10, and this is the ultimate do or die year. Lineup actually looks pretty solid here. The top 9 is fantastic. Problem is we have a lot of expiring contracts on this team. Velarde expiring, does not want to negotiate right now. Larkin expiring, does not want to negotiate. Tom Wilson down to a 79 overall. Thank God. Last year of that contract. Moritz Seider, last year of his contract, is willing to negotiate, but his ask is insane. When I started this challenge, I didn't quite realize how big an undertaking it would be and the time investment it would take. For instance, this video is going to be about 2 hours probably by the time I upload it. That's why we're going to make the decision to stop this one here, split this video into 2 parts for my own sanity and for your guys' sake as well, so you don't see a 4-hour upload on the channel. If you guys stuck it out this far, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoy this challenge. Let me know down below what you think of it. Drop a like if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe to the channel for more content coming your way soon, including part 2 of this challenge.